Welcome everyone to FATED ARPG podcast. This is episode 142. I lost track of time. Like, what are we? 3 weeks into Settlers of Kalguur? Oh my god. Balor, please help.
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Yeah.
Right.
We're exactly 3 weeks in, I think. Or 2 days, two or 3 days past it. So I guess
Right.
it's nearly a month.
Almost. So this is almost time for first month conclusions. But yeah, I lost track of time because we're super hyped that Gamescom is around the corner, and on Gamescom opening night live, which is tomorrow night, pretty much at this time or a little bit earlier from today, we're gonna get new POE2 reveals, and then at Gamescom we get to play POE2. Where did we play POE2 last? We were in LA, and who else was in LA? None other than denipon. How are you doing?
Hello, how's it going? Are you guys excited for Gamescom?
Well, I'm sure everyone is excited to see. You're not excited?
I don't get the card.
Next time, Balor. Next time we're making it happen. For sure. But yeah, you also played with someone in LA, and we got that person as well. And I'm very, very happy for the first time, very special appearance here on the podcast with us, AvoidingThePuddle, aka Aris. How are you doing?
Hey, how's it going, guys? I'm
Glad you made
great.
it. Well,
great.
Yeah, the green is awesome.
Do I look good?
Yeah.
Thanks.
I love it. It's like night vision.
Yeah, actually, I think that is what the issue is. I think that over the years, this camera just got tired of the low light in this room, and it's always on night vision. I'm not sure. I don't know. It doesn't matter to me.
I honestly, I think that's how people know you from your streams, and that this is like your iconic look. So that's fine.
by
Also,
me.
Balor and I agreed a long time ago that it's fine to have one podcast participant who doesn't have a camera at all, and that's clearly way above that, above that
true.
threshold.
You can see me, right? So good enough.
Yeah, there's even a
Thanks
hint of
for
a facial
inviting me on the
expression.
show, by the way. I'm excited to be here.
We can see you, but not well enough to pick you out of a lineup.
That's the idea, right?
Yeah, no, like, glad that you're coming. We were also very happy to meet you in LA. It was you who actually came out when we were standing there, right? We were
Yeah,
Balor
well,
and
it's
I were.
fun. I was happy to meet everybody. I learned how to play this game over the last few years by watching all of you guys on YouTube, right? So it was cool meeting all the celebs.
Okay. I hope you didn't learn too much from me.
Well, I mean, I watched your podcast before. I mean, you are the leader of the podcast. So yeah, I learned from you.
I like to see myself as someone who provides the space and brings the people together, and then you guys do the talking about all the interesting topics that I'm not so involved with. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
I'm
how I
happy to
look
be
at
here.
it. Like, some people like my opinions.
So what do you guys want to talk about?
Oh, I'm first of all, before we go into it, like, I'm curious about your experiences with Path of Exile in this league, because I think that's the most
sure.
like, current thing, and to get people caught up and a little bit give an idea what is going on in our personal lives with PoE right now. How are you feelings about the current league? Aris, you do a lot of variety, right? You did play Doom recently, and you played some other shooting games, fighting games.
Yeah, I play all kinds of games on stream, including PoE every now and then, but I try and keep it fresh, since I do it for a living. I don't want to do the same thing every day or else it won't be fun, no matter what it
All
is.
right.
So, yeah, I try to play something new, but I do play a lot of the same games over and over again, too, to keep the joke, going. But yeah, I play all kinds of things. I've been streaming for a long time, so it's kind of, I don't really think of it as streaming the same way most people do, because I don't really like the internet too much to sit at a computer. That's actually why I play on console. I don't like to sit at a computer, even though my computer obviously can play Path of Exile really well, but I just don't like sitting at a computer. I want to have my feet up and just chill out.
Okay, well, and then how much have you played of PoE 3.25, Settlers of Kalguur?
This league? A ton.
Yeah, this
a
league.
ton. Yeah, a ton.
So you play off stream?
Yeah, all the time, almost every night.
Nice.
Right. So you're a PoE addict, but you're just not showing it on stream all the time.
All the time. When I'm doing something gambly or something crafty, I'll do it on stream because I think it's more significant, like something that I'd like to be recorded in history. But I find that PoE is one of those games that if you don't actually play it, it's really difficult to watch it. So as someone who plays lots of different games, I know that my, people that watch my stream, they like variety too. And they like things that are more watchable than PoE. So, I mean, I'm not trying to force feed them shit they don't want. I'm not like a door-to-door salesman. I like to keep it fresh. So I'll play lots of different things. But like I said, if it's something significant, like a big gamble or maybe something that I'm crafting, then yeah, I'll stream that.
Fair enough. Okay. But yeah, I'm just trying to get an idea of like how deep into the game you are this league and like where we all match up. But I figure most of you guys, all of you guys, have played more than I have. Denny, how much have you played this league?
I've played a lot. Like, I've only made one build so far, but I've been having a lot of fun. I kind of have stepped away from the city stuff, like the township stuff. It's like, I feel like that's in serious idle mode for me, where I just have like the town amassing resources so I can finish off a couple like upgrades and get like some higher tier people. But most of my time has just been spent mapping. My build is so sick. So I've just been having fun crafting and,
What are you playing?
I think base game. I'm playing the build you started, Ice Nova, the
yeah.
It's
crazy.
That's a very nice build. It's very cozy. It was nice build, like league start. Crafting has been like my crafting's definitely scuffed, but it's settling league, and I'm okay with being a settler, so it's okay. Like, yeah. But I played a lot.
Really
yeah.
good build, so.
Yeah.
I swapped
you can
into
put
that.
mirrors in it.
Yeah.
Or league started on nothing.
Yeah, you can put a lot. Well, that's why I like that and like, attribute stacking. And then I mean, like the mana, you do get like some damage in this game, and I like seeing the mana. I just want to make the blue bubble as big as possible, basically right now. So it's a very nice build. Would recommend.
It's not a blue bubble on console. It's a bar.
No.
Oh yeah.
The UI is a little different.
I know. I was really curious what it would feel like on console because I was like suggesting it, and then I was just like, first of all, I don't even know how you guys shop on console. Second of all, like it doesn't take too much direction because you're kind of just casting the Ice Nova wherever the frost bolts are.
Are you using Kitava's Thirst, the hat?
I am, yeah.
Okay, I started using the hat, right? And
yeah.
I got rid of it. I think the build is way better without that hat. That hat.
I mean, yeah. Yeah. When you lose a 50-50, I've got a lightning leech corrupt on my hat right now, so I was able. So it makes it feel better, and I want to press as little buttons as possible because I'm always talking to chat.
I don't know how it is on PC for 2-button builds, but on console, 2-button builds are really smooth because you can just brush from X to square in one action every time you want to do anything. So it's really smooth, and you get to use the mastery for suppression, and you get all kinds of good stuff on your helmet. It's way better. But the reason I swapped to it in the first place was because of the Haunted by Tormented Spirits wand.
Yeah, that shit. That's
I got both of them.
Dude, that's like a pipe dream for me. 26 power runes
with a mage blood.
That's crazy.
Mage blood with both of them.
Oh my gosh.
You're
fucking gamer.
Cheating.
What the hell?
I'm cheating. It's so
At some point you move too quick.
Yeah,
and then lose control of your character and have to slow down.
I'm crashing into white-owned businesses all day. No,
what the
I have on characters like that where you get that fast before, I have like dropped Quicksilvers out of the build before because I go so fast I'm losing control of my character.
Yeah, just freaking trapped in a corner because I zoomed into it.
I'm just like I can get rid of the Quicksilver and put on another defensive class to slow me down a little bit so that my brain can keep up.
Which I imagine losing control of your character, like because it's too fast, that's something that happens even more on controller than it happens with mouse. Because with mouse you can point and click where you want to go, but with controller you have to deliberately stop at the point where you want to stop. right?
It's difficult for me to know because I don't play on a mouse and keyboard, but in my mind, it would be way harder on a mouse and keyboard because if you are, let's say, stuck in a door or something and you want to go around the door, you have to move your cursor there. But an analog stick is really quick. You just zip around the door, no problem. And you also don't have to aim with analog stick. There's targeting. So you don't have to move your mouse all over the screen, constantly clicking on things. Looting is instant. You just mash on a button and it picks everything up. So, I mean, it's difficult to say. I don't know because I don't play on mouse and keyboard, but to me, going really fast on a controller is not that hard. You can maintain control pretty well.
Okay, fair enough. So, I guess it's time for Ballard to tell us what he's been up to. What are you still on the reroll build that you made? You made a Death Oath and regretted it, right?
How's the Death Oath?
Death Oath is fantastic. I don't regret it at all. I'm just not suggesting it to other people because it costs several hundred div to make a build that was about as powerful as one with 3 div spent in it. But it's Death Oath. So it's really fun. So I don't regret it, but I've already re-rolled off it. I'm doing, I mean, to be fair, I earned my mage blood with it and then made another 400 or 500 div so that I could make my next character, which is a self temp chains curse shrine stacking build.
Oh.
Using the staff, gain a random shrine buff every 10 seconds, and a super buffed up self-curse temp chains to make those shrine buffs last very long. And then it's Spark.
Oh. So you're not going to see ever again?
Well, stream's not going to see ever again because every time I cast Spark, they're like, hit rate's gone. I can see 8 pixels. Where did the screen go? But it seems to be working. There's a little bit of ramp up time, but I started it 2 days ago on an Inquisitor. And I spent the whole day saying to chat over and over again, I don't know what's wrong with this, but something's wrong. And my brain is yelling at me, something's wrong with this. I'm missing something. And everyone was like, it seems to be working pretty well. Like, I don't know what you're missing. And I'm like, I don't know, man. But my brain keeps saying, something's wrong. It's gross. Something's wrong. But I couldn't tell you what it was. And then I woke up yesterday and I was like, it's consecrated ground. It has 50% reduced effective curse. I can't beat Inquisitor. The whole build is wrong. So to re-level as an assassin.
Oh, well.
Because it's self-curse.
Yeah.
I can't be on a character that just drops consecrated ground on the ground all the time.
Saving.
Are you just making all this shit up? Like you're just thinking of it?
We're trying.
You're just like being creative, right?
We're trying. So the idea for staff shrines, temp chains, isn't mine. Like we saw that idea and was like, ooh,
wow, of course.
Ooh, and so now I'm trying to make it into a build. We'll see how it goes.
So the staff shrines mod that you referred to is like one of the runesmithing mods, I assume.
Yeah.
Right.
It costs like 13 power runes.
Oh,
13 power runes.
Yeah, which is it's an 80 div enchant for an experiment that I don't even know.
Where are you getting all these power runes from?
Faustus. What do you mean?
What do you mean? You're gambling for them?
No, just walk over to Faustus and buy them.
There's this new auction house feature.
How much is a power rune?
Are you guys trolling me right now? PC? Hold on, I'm gullible. I'm about to believe you. How much a power rune? 3.4. I guess that's fair. Just buy it. It's 6. Okay, so it's gone up overnight since I was.
Yeah, when I was collecting for my crafts, it was about 3 each, but I found about 11, and I needed I needed 26. So by the time I had 11 by the time I was ready to get the crafts myself. But yeah, they're 3 divines each. You know, the time runes are also expensive on console. They're like a divine each. That shit's rough.
Yeah.
I just remember I sent shipments out because I wanted to get runes back from Ribbenfell, But then I remembered I didn't put gold in my treasury, and so my shipments have not been going.
I
while
know,
I
Yeah,
was
just I know.
sitting here in
rework
the
they did
podcast.
to the shipments was whack. They like
I don't know.
totally
Yeah,
ruined
it
it.
feels worse for
It's
sure.
worse.
It's so
It
much
feels
better.
random. It feels random to me, but
Way more.
I don't know.
Way less predictable.
Okay, wait.
10C out of
Way
1
less
million.
predictable.
Don't do it.
I
It's
haven't
so much better.
I haven't checked out the patch at all. Like I did like maybe 5 shipments of like. There's this thing that someone told me if you send 2 Verisium to Ribbenfell, right, then you get guaranteed 3 scarabs and 2 runes back for minimum investment 2 Verisium, right?
Wow.
And that's like super cheap. And because 2 Verisium isn't a lot of load on the ship sails with 0 risk all the time, even if it has only 1 very unqualified member on it. So you have very, very low shipping maintenance costs for the wages, but you get a constant inflow of runes and power and scarabs. Obviously, probably not as good as like fully invested, but for me, it seemed like a no-brainer because I didn't have to. Literally no-brainer because I didn't have to think about what I want to do with it, and didn't have to put time in when I had like 2 or 3 hours in the evening to play a little bit. But as someone who hasn't checked out the patch yet at all, tell me what were your first impressions about the shipping? Because I already saw like it's very different takes. Denny and Era said it ruined it. Balor said it made it so much better. Denny, what was your how did you find out that it was worse? No.
I mean, I guess it's felt worse. At the time, I had saved up a lot of resources to actually start doing large shipments. And at first, when the patch went live, I was like, oh shit, it's so back. We're so back. Because I got a divine and a power in my first couple of shipments. So then I started to increase how much dust I was sending out. And like I said, I made it to 1 million and I had no more dust. And I think I got like 10C back and like a 10C gem. And I was like, this is bullshit. Every time I've sent less, I have a higher chance of getting a divine. I've just been on I think Ben was saying, like, you could save up for a big shipment and maybe get a mirror shard, or you can just send less more consistently, and the bubblegum currency will stack up over time and still hopefully get a chance at something good. I've only been sending to Ribbenfell and the 2 closest ones because I want a chance to maybe get a belt out of one of them and the good tattoos. So I think I need a spell suppression tattoo for my next build. And yeah, the scarabs and just scarabs from the other place, really. Scarabs and currency. But I don't know. It feels random to me. I was just like, I don't understand how I sent so much more than what I thought was like, I think one shipment I sent 500 dust and I got a divine back, but then I sent like, I don't know, all the dust I ever had and got nothing. So I don't know what the chances are or what it's really based off of. If I'm only going to get something good back if I'm sending like 30 million or something like that.
Well, for me, in my experience, when it started, it felt like it was really predictable. You could put what you wanted in the boat, and then you could put 8,000 blue stuff, and it would multiply it at the precise amount, and then you could send it. It was really predictable. And it was obvious when like the diminishing returns were. So you were obviously disincentivized to go past a certain point. Now that's kind of gone, and it feels kind of more flat. So the more blue stuff you put in, the more valuable it gets in a more flat type of way. And from my experience, you can get a lot of really good stuff no matter what you do. Even if you send small shipments, you could get power runes. I got stacks of 6 divines with small shipments, and also the same with big shipments. So for me, it just feels like super random now. And I don't know if I like it more than before, but let's hear it, Balor. Let's hear it.
Yeah, sell us on the
Okay.
patch.
So for starters, I don't know what people are supposed to be doing with this thing. But what I can tell you is all I'm doing, which is the exact same thing I did before with one little twist. I'm just sending 2,000 to everything and 20,000 dust.
Yeah, I do that too.
Yeah, that's what I've converted to. Or like,
I get
back to.
about 50% of the time, a divine is in there. Plus, there's always a pile of tattoos or runes that's pretty decent, depending on where I send them.
But so you think that's better than before?
Yeah, because that was exactly what I was doing before, and my rewards are higher now. But about once a week, I can afford to send a ship that's going to be like a 20 to 40 million thing. And that comes back with a lot.
What's the best thing you got?
I mean, 22 div?
In one stack?
One
Well,
stack,
both?
In 2 stacks, because they don't fit in one, but in one ship.
one ship,
Wow.
2 stacks.
Yeah, but I can only afford to do it once a week.
That's
Yeah,
a
I was
lot.
about to say, like, you have to not send resources out for the whole week, right, to do it?
No,
or
I'm sending
you're
my
still doing your
2,000 ships
normal?
all week,
Yeah.
and I just let the town build up. And then once a week, you spend one. I was sad because I didn't get any mirror shards.
Mm,
And I sent enough that I was hoping for a mirror shard. So hopefully next week's shipment gets a mirror shard.
for each.
Or a full mirror.
That'd be nice, eh?
I've been
That would
hearing
be
a lot
okay
of
as
people are
well.
getting lucky. Mhm.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't mind it.
Are you sending fully manned ships, or are you only using like a couple guys?
Yeah, I've got an infinite
yeah.
amount of gold.
Oh,
Yeah. The strat I've been doing for the last week was like tier 16 maps that took 2.5 minutes a map and gave me 40,000 gold a map.
Dude, you know what happened to me? You know how you got mappers, right? And sometimes they can be kidnapped. You know, like it says, all your mappers are kidnapped. So that was the like third time it had happened to me. I went to my map and I was gonna go kill the guy and get the stuff from him. I pushed the wrong button, and the wrong button makes every one of your tier 10 mappers die.
Oh, the abandon them button.
Yes,
Oh,
I
no.
abandoned all my tier 10. Fuck. But
Oh,
you
that's-
know, it
that's
was
rough.
lesson learned, and I lost out on the loot from that moron. One button with there's no like, are you sure you want to abandon all these dope dudes? No,
Yeah.
you're all
Like
dead.
if you accidentally click the pay the ransom button, you just go, oh man, I just spent gold instead of getting gold.
Yeah, I didn't have any gold to pay for
But
it.
like
so I just
abandon
pushed
them is rough.
button. Whatever, lesson learned.
reading. Oh no. Yeah.
Yeah, I was
as far
pleasantly
as the
surprised
boats
when I had
Sorry,
that
go ahead.
once sorry, I just wanted to say when I noticed that the pirate encounter, I thought it was all about like freeing your guys again, but then it turns out, oh, you get a massive amount of gold if you beat this dude.
Yeah, yeah, a lot of gold, and also power runes from the butt pirate, and you get a ton of the of the other resources from the other two dudes. There's 3, right? 3
Yeah.
encounters.
Yeah, one in shipping,
you
one in
find in
mapping, and
maps.
what's the other one?
Yeah. And one your mappers run. There's one you find in your own
Oh,
maps,
that's what
and
you
one
get
that your
from
mappers
mappers.
get.
I see.
Yeah, the blue guy that's like all from Delve. That guy's in your maps. He's in like a crater that randomly appears. And then there's the guy with like the flaming bow and arrow. He's
Who does
for-
0 damage, by the
Yeah,
way.
he's for the mappers. The most dangerous thing about that fight is accidentally leaving it. But I think they
Yeah.
fixed that bug. And then the butt pirate guy who kidnaps your boats. But they're all pretty whack fights. They all kind of seem like they're just there to give you loot.
They actually seem like they are relatively mechanically interesting and just do 0 damage. So
Yeah.
you don't have to worry about the mechanics at all. You just
Yeah,
stand
that's
in the
not
world,
that
nothing
interesting.
happens.
Yeah. I didn't know if it was just my build was overpowered or what. To
Nope, that week.
yeah. I was like, oh.
I'm fine with that though. I'm not
Yeah.
trying to get these guys to be 5 times harder but give you the same amount of loot. So it's cool. Let
Yeah,
'em
and
be-
get
let 'em
one
be.
portal. Like that would suck. Yeah, I haven't seen the last guy.
Also,
Who was this?
If you
Yeah.
fail, it's the same as abandoning them. You don't just lose one dude or anything. You lose the whole ship
Wow.
or every mapper in the device
That sucks.
if you fail.
That
Which
sucks.
is like your whole team of like tier
Yeah.
10
So
mappers
maybe
is
that's
just
why
gone.
it's easy.
So yeah, I think it has to be a little bit easy.
Yeah, makes
Yeah.
sense. That makes sense.
That does sound potentially frustrating. I know how much those mappers cost both in like clicks and in gold to acquire.
Just in my sanity, standing there and rolling over and over again.
Yeah, that's what I meant with clicks, but yeah, I guess. So, but you said you had infinite gold. Like, how are you guys dealing with the gold upkeep costs? Like, Balor, you've obviously reached a point where you like fully upgraded your town in all regards, and you're like just constantly mapping and you're generating more gold than you're spending. But for a lot of people, that doesn't seem to be the case, right? Like, a lot of people are just not there yet, including myself, because I've barely played. I can already see the memes again in the comments. Catmaster looks so confused. Does he even play this game? But yeah, I really haven't played a lot. On the way there, is there anything that you can say, Bell, or any tips and tricks? How did you maintain your gold? How did you fully upgrade your game besides playing a shit ton?
The answer is I didn't. I struggled and cried about gold until I found a strategy that gave me enough gold to matter. The number one thing is rarity is key. Fit rarity anywhere you can. Every build should have a gold flask in it. If you can value rarity rolls on your rare gears more, that would be great. That's really all there is. It's just rarity solves all of your problems.
Rarity does do a lot. That's for sure. As soon as I started the league with Spectral Shield Throw, Gladiator, and I followed Zizarin and British Exile's guide, and I had also played it before in 3.15. So I thought, okay, rework Gladiator, let me try it. But I was like really disappointed with the Ascendancy until I learned about those boots that make it so that you could aggravate bleeding with the venom puncture ring, I think. And once I learned about that, and then I could take the War of Attrition Ascendancy node that took care of bosses, made those a lot more smooth. That's when it popped off. So after I played that build and got a Mage Blood, the first thing I did was put a gold flask on, and that was crazy. The gold, it was a huge difference. The gold flask on with a rarity roll for the suffix on a Mage Blood, it really makes it clear that rarity gives you tons more gold. So yeah, I agree. Rarity helps. But also it depends on what you're doing too. Like right now I'm doing a bunch of heist, you get no gold in there. And it really depends on what
heist run.
Also, if you're doing, let's say, maps to get your own contracts, you'll get no gold doing that either. If you're spec'd into like a heist tree, you have to do mechanics that give you like Abyss. Abyss drops gold like crazy, and mechanics that just poop out lots of monsters and also openable things. That's another thing that's easier on console. A lot of people don't click on things like urns and chests and shit because it's like an extra thing to click on, right? But on console, you're just running by, opening stuff, easily, mashing on a button. So you end up with more gold that way. So that's something I've definitely noticed.
Yeah, I kind of feel bad about originally I was praising the league for how everything gives gold and everything fuels into the league mechanic, and then it turns out it's it kind of, you see gold on the ground, but the amounts are really not meaningful of the gold that you get, say, in Delve or in Heist compared to the gold that you get from mapping.
Well, actually, you get really a lot of gold from sending out shipments and then getting that butt pirate to show up. I mean, that guy is going to give you like 60, 70 K in one go. So it really depends on what you're doing and how you're doing it. It can really.
Is there anything that you can do to encourage the butt pirate to show up?
Doesn't seem to be. He just shows up randomly.
Just always
lots
have
of
dudes
ships.
out,
always sending them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. But there's nothing to increase the chance that I can tell, at least.
Yeah.
I can just keep the ships running.
Yeah, I don't think it has to do with value either. I think it's just random.
Yeah, so overloading your ships, raising the risk bar doesn't do anything.
It doesn't seem like it. No.
Damn.
I feel an awful lot like this league is ready to go core.
Agreed.
It's not quite strong. It's not even really strong enough to need a nerf most of the places.
I think they're going to add this mechanic. They're going to add the gold, and I don't know. It just seems like it's way too smooth of an addition. I think this is one of the smoothest and least obnoxious leagues they've had in a really long time. Most of the leagues that they come up with have been, since maybe Sanctum, and even that, some people really didn't like it. But generally, their league mechanic, it kind of stinks. But the state of the game improves so much that the game is just really fun. Last league's the graveyard, that was a joke, dude. That was a total joke. But the game
crafting experiment
was perfect. The game, they got rid of sextants. They made the game just such a joy last league. The way they took away the need to have itemized invitations, they just appear in Kirak's inventory. That type of stuff, it's like so good. Not many games get better in that way, where you almost think, I can't believe we did it that way before. What about the regions in the Atlas, dude? Or like rolling watchstones, or all these like elevated sextants. And dude,
everyone remembers leapfrogging around like 16 different zones.
Yeah, dude. How did any of us accept that as acceptable? It was a fucking joke, dude. And
but
now
at the time it felt good.
It kind of, sort of, until
it.
you bricked it because you were new, and then I was like, "Wow, I'm stupid." Rip my Atlas.
Atlas with the regions of the Atlas, dude. That I thought it was like, wow, this game is so good that it's making me do some of the dumbest shit I've ever done.
I loved it. I thought it was great. But saying that, I don't want to go back now that I'm.
Sure.
Rose-colored glasses. I had one.
I was like, oh, this is great.
A few minutes ago, this guy was like, I didn't regret it, but I re-rolled immediately.
Hang on, I played that build for like 6 days.
That's
6 days.
That's long by Bello standards.
That's a long time to play one build.
Okay, fair enough. Agreed. But anyway, you wouldn't go back, is all I'm saying. And that's what I'm saying. You wouldn't go back.
In some regards, I mean, I really do appreciate you coming on here and saying this, because we so often and generously forget how the game is getting better every time and just keep on complaining about the things that we don't like and take the things for granted that we have actually gotten in the last patches or years.
Big things to me, at least. I think they're game altering. Like
specifically
really...
on the point of the invitations appearing in Karak, though, I mean, I appreciate the quality of life that it can be for the certain way of playing, but you also have to see the other side where people can't just buy those invitations anymore. You can't just bulk roll these invitations anymore. You can't ramp them up and they say, I do them on my other build in 30 days when I got it to a certain point when I want it. But you have to have it there, and you can't farm up more invitations at that time.
And the worst part, you have to bring your currency out of your stash with you over to the NPC to then roll from one side of the screen to the other with your currency until you finish rolling what you want, and then you can run it, and you can only do that once.
Wait, but so you guys you can't even prepare multiple invitations at the same time, right? Because
but you used to be able to roll a whole bunch of them.
Okay, just pre-roll them.
Yeah.
Gotcha. That's like, to me, that's
what I used to do would be like, I'd roll like 10 Shaper Guardian invites and 10 full Shaper Guardian rotations full of maps all at once. And then just set them all up and just go bang, 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 run them all. Can't do that anymore, it's fine. I don't know a solution, because this is better. Not having them itemized is better.
Yeah, because they didn't always drop on the 4th map. You didn't always get an invitation. That's fucking.
It was actually I did so many of them that it was about 1 in 6.
Which
so you had good. You had 4 bosses, and it was about 1 in 6. So
that's not good. That's like getting a pack of hot dogs with too many buns. You don't have enough sausages.
That's exactly what it was. You had 2 extra buns every time.
That's no good. That sucks.
That's exactly what that is. You exactly had 2 extra buns every time.
At the pantry and seeing 2 hot dog buns. I know I do. I hated it, and they fixed it. And that's not just it. Like, there are a lot of things, like even the Ashling itemization of the Ashling Slam. To me, those types of changes are really good. Even though it was a nerf, I do miss the old Veiled Chaos. But it's sometimes, growing pains, dude. I think that, generally speaking, the game is way better than it was, at least when I started. The first league that I felt like I liked the game was Ritual. That was the first league where I thought, this game's sick. I'll give it up. But since then, it's gotten way better. To me, at least. There's so many more little things, too, that I'm forgetting. But the removal of sextants, to me, was huge. The removal of the stupid regions, the ability to block mechanics you don't like, the entire Atlas tree, 3 Atlas trees. Remember, we had to do 1. Remember de-speccing and then speccing into bosses?
Yeah.
That sucked. And they knew it sucked.
I
Think
still
about
want more
all
than
the
3.
other games out there that have things that suck that never get fixed.
I still want more than 3.
I mean, yeah, of course. That's the problem. They give you 3, you want more than 3, you know?
Yeah.
You unbutton your shirt 2 buttons from the top, and then you go 3, Valor. You know, you got to alter. That's a you thing. You got to alter your, you know, personality.
The magic number's 5. And we should get one from killing Shaper and one from killing Cirrus. Just because thematically...
Give Cirrus purpose, please!
Yeah. Like that's how those 2 extras in my brain should unlock, because like that Shaper's whole atlas, like he's the lore thing, and then Cirrus is that so that makes sense to me.
If they've had 5, most people would only use 3, and it would end up those last 2 would be kind of dead. I don't know. Having only 3, there is something good to it, because it still gives you that limitation. You want 5, but you don't have 5. So that means with your 3, you have to manage your resources. So I think that's still pretty cool. I mean, why not 10 then? Right?
The answer is because I only need 5.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, yeah. I'm happy with 3. I'm happy with a lot of the changes to the game, just in general. I think that those changes are what carries this game through shitty leagues like the last one.
I'll tell you the real reason. I'll tell you the real reason why I want 5. I don't really need 2 more trees. I'm just really upset that unlocking the new trees didn't come from Shaper and Cirrus, because that's where it makes sense in my brain to have unlocked those things. And so I just want to add more so that I can give them as rewards for killing those 2 bosses. Just because, like, thematically, that's what should be happening.
I personally am not in love with them gating things that are unlocked behind weird fights. So as long as they're the regular fights that you're gonna
the regular one, not Ubers.
That's fine by me. Like when they used to have the last slot, the map slot device thing in a 5-way, that was so stupid. What does that have to do with anything?
That was weird. Like, what has the 5-way got to do with my mapping?
It's
what
like,
do you mean?
okay, you got to do it in Delve. Like, what, dude? I don't want to go over there to do this, you know? And it's such an integral part of mapping, having that extra slot in your device. Why would
imagine if you needed to do a blueprint to unlock your?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So you're like, what? What do you mean?
Yeah.
No.
So I think that they solved that well, and all the other things that you unlock is pretty cool. I like everything so far. I mean, feared to get your last favorite slot is pretty rough for most people, right? But I think there should be some hard things left.
But a favorite slot, like I've gone like 2 months without unlocking that last favorite slot.
It'll drive me crazy.
Like, it's not that important.
I don't like it. I don't like looking at it. Like things that are left to unlock, that like a watchstone. You could easily play with 2 watchstones and make tons of, currency, but it doesn't feel good to me not having your 4 watchstones. Same with, favorite slots. Same with all the unlocks. I got to do that right away. That's my priority. Then Mage Blood. As soon as I get all my unlocks, then I go Mage Blood. For me, at least.
What is your perfect number of Atlas trees, Denny?
I think I'm satisfied with 3, to be quite honest. I just go back and forth between all 3 anyways. And I would like to see some purpose brought back to Cyrus, though. I always complain about that because like he was the boss to beat when I first started playing. So he feels so like forgotten and not even important anymore.
He's also one I spent so long practicing that is one of the easiest boss fights for me. That and Uber Elder, I feel like I could do nearly blindfolded. Not actually, but like that's how comfortable I am with those fights. Whereas I walk into regular Maven and I'm still like, there's a 50% chance I burn.
I'm probably gonna die.
This. Like, I'm so bad at it.
Yeah. I don't even try Maven anymore. I don't know what it is between talking to chat and then trying to remember what's happening in the memory phase and trying to make sure I'm dropping degen in the right place.
And then there's like the red guy with the balls. And
meatball phase.
I can barely play Frogger, let alone 3D Frogger. What am I doing? I can't.
I know.
Is this a dancing simulator? Like, I can't do this fight.
My plans,
It is kind of a bitch, especially Uber. The Uber version of that fight is kind of a bitch.
Say like Uber, like I don't
There's
know.
like a giant dragon that spawns in the middle of that
Yeah.
phase, dude.
My
And it's
solution to
trying to
that
slap
fight
you.
is that I must have enough damage that my burst between ball phases is enough to kill him before I run out of portals.
Yeah, it's my strat too. If I have more damage, he can't
Yeah.
kill me faster than I kill him.
He has to have 6 ball phases before I lose. So as long as I can beat him before that's happened, I win.
That's how every
Yeah.
boss works, though, right?
6 portals.
Yeah, but I'm guaranteed a death. That's the difference.
I feel like playing
Bad at it.
League starting Spectral Shield Throw really made it obvious how important it is. My 3rd Watchstone this league, I was way under geared for it. And with SST, you do no damage. I got Maven. It took like 20 minutes. I had like a 20-minute Maven to get my 3rd Watchstone. And
Those are the fun mavens.
sure, exactly. And I did good. I did good, but it was really long. And last league, I did like 30 Uber Mavens, so I was ready for regular Maven. It was never going to kill me, but it just took so long, So it just makes you really understand the disparity in builds. Like if you play something that's low single target versus you can instantly erase this boss and never even need to have a memory. You don't even need a memory.
Yeah.
So it really is. There's a vast difference in build performance, and that makes the game's performance different too for everyone.
Yeah. No, I specifically sustain, I feel, in the Maven fight is in that last phase. Like, technically the arena doesn't get any worse. There's no soft enrage with the area damage underneath you anymore. If you did a good job managing those balls, then it's okay. But you need to stick in there for a long time if you don't have the damage. And if then on top of your region or all recovery being disabled when you get hit by the beam, which you shouldn't get, if then you get like ignited by the ball, if you don't have that ailment immunity, or you get some sort of damage, you do need to get that life back up and stick in there for quite some time.
Well, technically, even if you do get hit by the beams, you can not get hit by other stuff until it comes back. It's a few seconds.
It's 8 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, it's 20 minutes, dude. 20 minutes. You know how many 8 seconds there are in 20 minutes, dude? Yeah, 8 seconds.
Speaking from experience.
20 minutes, dude. I'm not even kidding.
I'm like, no, you can survive.
It was a joke. It was a
I don't know.
That's quite a bit.
Yeah,
Unkillable.
It was a joke. And Gladiator's super tanky too, so I wasn't gonna die. It was just as long as I don't forget this memory game, then I'll go forever. And I did, So yeah, it was really. And I don't know if you're. I think the bosses in this game are great. By the way, all of them. The only one I think really sucks is Shaper, and it's just because of the phases. The phases are really annoying, and the way he says some shit before he leaves, like insignificant, and then makes you do some shit that you hate. I don't love that. So, but other than that, I like all the other bosses. I think they're great.
That's interesting. I've always considered Shaper reasonably good, but I guess by today's standard, it's not that good anymore.
It's pretty annoying. Any boss that forces you into like a monologue before you can do damage to them. Ugh.
But when it came out, it was like a 15 to 20 minute fight when you were good. And it was those little breaks were like people were getting a chance to breathe and be like, okay, we're through that. Like it was good and very epic at the time.
It makes sense.
Now it doesn't make sense. But like it did at the time, it was fine.
I'm surprised they don't rework bosses the way they rework mechanics. Like you would think that they would rework Shaper in some way to make it kind of make sense by today's standards,
I don't really know too much about the coding behind it or how much they'd have to rework, like the arena, create new effects. I don't know if it's more effort to redo that versus just, I don't know, put all their effort into making new bosses for POE2 that maybe they'll like bring back into this game.
Do you like the new life bars, Denny? They remind me of. I love them.
No, I do like them. I do like them.
And
I
not
think-
everyone got them too. Some bosses got left behind.
I
dude.
know, which is I thought all bosses are supposed to have it,
Yeah.
but that's okay.
They
I
will.
think
They said they will.
yeah, I think some people are complaining about the fact that the bar covers up all of your
Yes.
freaking buffs at the top of the
can't-
screen. I'm not playing a
the-
build where I care about that too much anymore. So like the only time I did care about that was when I was looking for adrenaline for more like damage. But now I'm just like whatever.
Like the unmovable UI element. Of
Yeah.
their name.
Or scaling
overlaps
on it
with
would be
the
nice.
Unmovable UI elements of the buff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not an issue on
Yeah.
console. On
No.
console, the buff icons are below the mana bar. They're not on the top of the screen.
Yeah, that's better. Honestly, I wish I didn't have
That
to
is
look
better.
up into the top left to see what the hell I'm doing sometimes.
Yeah.
I want to be able to move my buffs and debuffs into
Yeah, that'd be nice.
correct
I would like
places.
that.
These are not
Yeah.
the correct places.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I think, but that's just like consistent with PoE. I feel like they're really good at implementing good quality of life changes, but sometimes like the user experience end of it is a little bit on the scuffed side. Like how the disenchanting building is right in the middle of the freaking town, but the waypoint is all the way over by Danny G,
Yeah.
which is like, when are you ever gonna hang out with Danny? Like literally, you're never going over there.
Yeah.
Well, I keep telling my chat, it feels like the person who put together the sim, like sim enthusiasts, but they're building the town like it's the first time playing a sim game. Like no, like very low efficiency. Like, and I wish that they had let you do maps in King's March. I think I would feel better about constantly sending out ships, constantly doing mappers if I was just able to do my maps there versus having to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah.
So.
So that
How are they going to sell how are they going to make money and sell hideouts that way?
You know, King's March hideout incoming, I guess. Like,
King's
that be
March
considered
is
pay
going
to
to be
win?
the new hideout.
Would that
I've
be
heard-
considered pay to win if I could buy King's March as my hideout and then
Well,
Let's go from there.
I've heard a good idea thrown around where they add a new building in King's March that is your hideout. So you go in that building and it's your hideout. It's like
zone in.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe it could be part of the same instance, so you don't have to have a load screen between the two.
Yeah, sort of like an iframe on a website, right? You get like a hideout frame in your King's March.
Yeah.
Where you can put your decorations and your map device and your NPCs.
Yeah.
I think it's a decent. If they add it to the game, which I don't know, I think they will. It seems very like
it's primed to go core for sure. We
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean,
I
it-
hope
it-
so.
It is a fairly like high investment in terms of graphical assets and like the production quality on King's March. Then you have like intertwining the NPCs with other leagues, like because it has the highest
Yeah.
NPCs and the what was the other NPCs? Expedition NPCs. And then also it has the link to POE2 because King's March is literally one of the towns in POE2 that we play.
Yeah,
in, I
and
believe,
also
in Act 4,
mechanically,
the boat.
the gold
Yeah.
is huge, and also the currency exchange being tied to gold. It really feels like all these things have to be part of the core of the game if any of them are to continue. So
Yeah.
maybe I don't have a problem with it. I like it.
Yeah. I hope they really keep the currency exchange. Like, I really hope they keep that. Like, I tried to
then-
spend a little bit of time bulk exchanging off trade because I didn't want to pay the premium. But at this point, like, I'm willing to just pay the premium on
Yeah.
everything just so I can get
Yep.
whatever instantly in my freaking inventory instead of having to whisper like 50 people to get one response to tell
I
me that
avoided
they're
it very
AFK
heavily
anyways. Yeah.
right at the beginning until my town was fully upgraded, and then I'm like, now I can afford spare gold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's way less necessary on console because we already have a currency exchange, and there's already that exchange already works for items as well. But I didn't use it for a while, but it's really useful. The only problem is that the population of the console players is low, so a lot of the ratios will be off depending on what you're looking for. But it's still worth checking. Sometimes it's the way to go.
Yeah.
That's the same on PC though. Like you
Okay.
can, one of the best things you could do to make money per hour right now would be to flip between Faustus and the normal trade site. Like it's
Oh, buy low, sell high.
Yeah.
It has
Stonks.
a gold cost. So what you're not really like flipping, it's you're turning gold into divines directly.
Yeah.
Because
Basically.
people, enough people don't want to pay the gold costs.
Yeah.
Mm.
So if you've got excess gold, you can just buy stuff from trade and put it back in Faustus and make like 30-40%.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah. I feel like that's the upsell on most of the things on there. Like I said, buying scarabs and fragments. At first, it was hurting me because I was like, "Wow, everything costs more." But I saved so much in mental health, not
Yeah.
having to whisper like 50
Yep.
It's
people.
more fun. It's just
Yeah.
simply more fun.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
usually fucked up the other day though. I accidentally bought veiled orbs instead of selling mine, and I was so stressed out about it because I had bought them at like a way higher premium.
Yeah.
But you know what? I put them back on, and I was like, I would just go to bed and hope for the best. I woke up and someone bought them at the stupid price I listed them for. So I was like,
Nice.
all right, this is like
I
okay.
did that with the Valdo's puzzle boxes. I was
Yeah,
like, I'm
like,
just going to sell this box.
fuck.
And I went and put it on Faustus, and then I clicked the button, and I'm like,
I'm like,
fuck,
oh,
I
bought
got 2
the book.
boxes now.
fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I did kill 10 mappers, 10 top tier mappers in one. The fucked up thing is that shit says rescue L1, abandon R1. So it's like, honestly,
Oh, no.
dude, I just pushed the wrong button, man. They all died. It happens, man. There's mistakes in these games. Everyone
Yeah.
makes them.
Yeah.
I was so fascinated when you said that, Bella, that like you like leveraging the price difference between the auction house and the trade website is essentially turning your gold into
Yeah.
divines, which is they designed gold as an untradeable currency, and you kind of found out it's actually tradable.
Yeah, no, it's tradable. It's fully tradable.
Not
I mean, you
direct,
can't
though.
give anyone gold, but you can trade your gold directly for divines through Faustus.
I
That
mean,
counts,
that's like the
right?
same concept as like 2-gen coinage is not tradable, but you could turn it into divines and trade that. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, obviously you can do things with untradable things that can result in currency for sure. I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, doesn't it seem like the best, if you're only considering monetary success in game, the best way to play this game without question is to do things like what he just mentioned. Buy things cheap, craft on them a little bit, and sell them really high. That's like the best way, to me at least, as
For
far as
sure.
I know. So, yeah, I mean, it just really depends on what you find to be fun at the end of the day. If you think that's fun, then that's the way to go.
Not that. That's not it.
I do it. I do it all the time, especially on console, because a lot of people don't craft on console, like for profit. So if you decide to do so, the market is there. Like people really want items. So you just, if you know a little bit about what the best builds are that league, instead of picking up that one fractured amethyst ring and selling it just as is for 1 or 2 divines, you throw a couple essences on it, and now it's 10 divines. So that's really the way to go, especially on console.
Oh, wait, so just a quick question. I'm not sure I got this correct, but they changed how you trade on console recently, right?
They added to how you trade. Originally, there was a kind of like an auction house where you would put up like an item. I would put up an item and it was for sale. And all you had to do was say, okay, here's the money, and I accept it, and it warps into my inventory without having to invite you into my hideout. It was like a trading system similar to the currency exchange. So what they changed about it is they also added the PC version where you could search on the website, send a message, invite to your hideout, French kiss each other, and then, you know, good luck, thanks, you know, and then that's it. That now exists on console. That's all they changed, though. It's still got the old system. And then they also added the currency exchange. So there's 3 methods on console to trade.
How do you guys price check stuff on a console?
If you want to do it quickly, what I do is you just, okay, anytime you're in a hideout or anywhere, you hover over the item and you push left click plus triangle, and it auto searches all of the ones that are available right now. And then you click one more button and it shows all of the ones that are available offline. So it's not a good, like, it's basically very similar to what you get on the website, but it's in-game. It doesn't have as much information, though. Like, you don't see whose items they are.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. 'Cause I was trying to,
Not too bad, though.
I had some new console players in the community, and they were trying to ask about price checking, and I was just like, I have no idea how you price check on console. How do you guys decide when something's worth 20C and 15 div if
Well,
you're not
yeah,
able to
if
easily
you're
compare?
new, like brand
Yeah.
new, the best way to do it is just to use that method, like left click plus triangle will search what's available now. You just look at all of them and look at the rolls and see how yours stacks up. You kind of have to use guesswork, but
Yeah.
that doesn't work if you find some like some kind of explode wand or something that no one has, right? So that's
Mhm.
going to be difficult. You will undersell it if you don't know the value of it. And
Yeah,
that's just the way the game
yeah.
works.
That's what he said. He sold a fractured one, fractured mana one, and he's
Yeah.
like, I sold it for 10 div, but it sold so fast that I think I sold it
Yeah.
for too little. And I was like, yeah, you probably
Almost
did.
certainly.
Yeah.
No, but the thing that I would recommend to people who are having that kind of a problem is you got to let it go, because
Yeah,
even
it was like 10 div in
Ballard
pocket.
just mentioned he made a mistake, right? That's just a
Yeah,
mistake, and
just
in a game
happens.
like this, you are gonna make so many mistakes. So just let it go. Yeah, you made 10 divs. Don't be a bitch about
Yeah.
it, right? You got 10 divs.
I
Quit
know.
whining.
Yeah.
On the one hand, I agree. You should not let a single mistake ruin your fun and enjoyment in the game, and you should realize that it's only one of many mistakes. There's going to be plenty of
Yeah.
mistakes, and even the best players don't play perfect, and they will still make mistakes. On the other hand, I'm a fond and firm believer in just hating your own mistakes, because that makes you not repeat them. Like I always get upset about my mistakes a lot more than I
Hating
should
them
probably.
though, like damn, man. Maybe if
Yeah,
you were to stop considering them to be mistakes in the first place. What if you considered them as just stepping stones to
Yeah,
greatness?
people kind of
in
learn,
the
especially
grand
if you're
scheme of
new.
things,
Yeah.
So if
They are a
they're
learning
stepping
experience.
stones, right? If you consider them to be stepping stones, then that means you must step over them to become great, right? So then how could you hate the mistakes?
Yeah. No, that's like,
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
all
that's a great
learning.
point.
Plus, it's like divine, like potential divine based off your price, and then actual divine in your pocket, like actual currency in your like stash tab is better, right?
And also you're gonna
Yeah.
learn your lesson, right? That guy got messaged so quickly for that wand, right? That next time that happens, he's gonna make sure. Anytime he gets any wand with any fracture, he's gonna be like, all right, let me make sure. And there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that. We just made a guy get better at the game.
Yeah. What were you gonna say, Catmaster? I think I interrupted you.
It's sometimes hard to tell with the stream delay, so I personally also thought I was interrupting you.
You're in Germany, Balor is in Australia, and we're both in the US, right? So we're all global right now. We gotta. There's gonna be
technology is amazing that it even works as good as it does, right? And I mean, technically, it could work better if we had like NASA equipment and all that. But like thinking that this technology is available to everyone basically for free, yeah, sure. I mean, I got some paid subscriptions on some software here, but like technically, you could do it with the free versions as well. That's amazing.
I'm impressed.
Shout out to the internet and praise to open source.
Yeah. So fracturing wands. I forgot how we even got there.
Oh, console price checking.
Oh, price checking.
Yeah.
But isn't that I guess price checking is pretty easy on PC, right? Because you can have a plugin that just like shows you what it's worth.
Shows you and then pulls it up right to trade. Well, that's what I say, like, homie. I think you need your trade site on your phone is what you need. It's gonna suck a little bit. But
I don't use the trade site for price checking, but I did when I first started doing Heist, because in Heist there's a lot of stuff that is weird that you need to price check, especially before with the gems. So it depends on what you're doing. I think it depends on what you're doing.
Yeah.
I'm curious, is there like, there must be someone who's already like working on something like that for console, right? Like a phone app that is basically doing what Acquisition does. Like we can just hold the phone up to your television screen and it will like parse everything that it sees in the screenshot, like when you hover an item, and like automatically read out the text and like try to give you a price estimate.
Get to work on it, man. You're an innovator.
I feel like
I'm only learning.
Yeah, no, I feel like that would be really good and probably more prevalent in POE2 when we actually have crossplay between both communities.
That's gonna be dope.
Because right now there's still that big separation of the trade economies, right? Like console prices versus our PC prices are random AF, I feel like.
$400, $400 divines for a mage blood right now, I think, on PC. I mean, on console.
Oh, how much on PC?
I don't know.
$400. I mean, divines on PC. I mean, console.
They're like 300 or something, aren't they?
Yeah.
On PC, it's not that bad.
Yeah, but I guess less players playing like that, less players getting gear like that and posting
One
it.
apothecary is like 75 divines, I think, or something like that.
What I'm learning is I might be toxic AF, because when people ask me about console trading, I'm like, all right, so what you want to do is walk up over to a computer, sit down, and make a new account.
Yeah.
Because fuck that.
But in POE2, you don't have to make a new account. You can log into your existing one.
That's this now. Right now, you just get a computer away.
Damn.
Sitting at a PC has never been fun to me, and playing on a keyboard also, it feels like I'm a secretary on a typewriter. You know, like I've never liked that feeling for video games. It doesn't feel like I'm not. It feels like I'm in a cubicle when I'm sitting at a computer typing.
I can't wait to be able to play with this on my computer.
You can now, but
you can't.
Yeah, you can't switch back and forth.
It does not. There is no controller support right now. There just is.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's crazy how that's like one thing that Last Epoch did a little better than PoE, being able to switch back and forth.
Everything.
Yeah.
Diablo 3, for Diablo 4, Torchlight Infinite, Undecember, Last Epoch. Everybody except PoE can just hot swap.
Swapping back and forth would be nice.
All of my mapping would be done with a controller if all of my town management stuff could still be done with a keyboard and mouse. Absolutely.
Yeah, so do you have to like unplug your controller entirely before you get command back on mouse and keyboard?
Client.
Oh.
Main menu.
Log out and change the client input from keyboard and mouse to controller, and it changes the whole UI to something that's objectively terrible. Although there are some things that are better about it, but like overall, it's worse. And then you can use a controller for a while, and then you have to reboot the whole thing back to use a keyboard and mouse. No one's doing that. It's not happening.
No, it doesn't work if you want to use both. Unfortunately.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
I believe that's also the reason why Sephirion, who we all know in our community as the controller guy, and the Bramblejack guy, and the fun British guy who curses on stream.
I don't know. He sounds like a peach.
Wait, you've never heard of Seth? But anyways, Seth is kind of known for playing with a controller for a long time because he has like issues with his hands. Even before official controller support was implemented, and he always used like I think an open source third party software to turn his controller input into mouse and keyboard input for the game to work with. So he's been playing the game on controller before it was officially supported, and I'm pretty sure he's not using official controller support for exactly that reason. What Balor said is that you can't switch in order to do your inventory management on mouse and keyboard instead.
Yeah.
Plus,
hopefully that
probably
happens.
UI. So imagine if you get used to mouse and keyboard UI and then just wanting to play on controller, which is the only change you want to make, then having to get used to an entirely new UI and way of doing things can be a little bit of a hurdle.
I mean, I think that I don't know how it works on the back end or whatever, but it must be because it has to load in one UI. Like the UI can't actively swap between the PC UI and the controller UI.
I don't want them to. I don't want the controller UI. I just want to use a controller.
But you know that there are certain things that are in the game that are tied to the controller UI. For example, leveling gems. On controller, you don't have to allow them to be leveled. They auto level. But on PC, you have to go click on each one to let them level.
I don't know. Me trying
and
to
they said that they can't add that to PC, right? Because of it being tied to pad UI. So I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be nice to see it in the game, honestly. Because every time I'm trying to, I don't know, level up my gems that I'm trying to swap in the middle of like a Harvey pack and an expedition and everything. I'm just trying to click over here on the right side of my screen without hopefully dying.
That
It's
sounds
very
terrible to me.
frustrating. Yeah, it's not
Sounds
the
terrible.
best. It's not the best.
Yeah,
don't-
there's a question. What do you do with the gems you don't want to level if it's auto? You can tell them to not level before it actually hits the level. Wait, on PC you have to wait until it hits the level, and then you have to recognize, oh, that's the gem I don't want to level, and then not click it when your monkey brain goes, oh, plus sign, click, 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 click.
You can
And
lock
it's
gems.
so hard.
Is that not
Yeah.
available on PC? Locking
You-
gems?
No,
can.
you have
you
no
do.
idea how many times I leveled my
To
gems
lock
that
it
I
on a
didn't want to level.
PC,
Yeah, you have
wait
to
for it to
right
reach
click.
full XP,
Yeah.
and then right click the level up instead of left click the level up, and then
Wow.
it'll go away.
That sounds really
But
shitty.
you just forget, right?
Yeah.
Like you just go, oh, gems, ding, 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 ding. Oh,
Yeah.
fuck! I did
Because
it
your
again.
gems also don't pop for leveling during your town cycle or something. It's in the middle of combat when they come up. And that as a trained PoE player, you just trained yourself to just level them up as you go along. Because for most gems, that's
Huh.
the way to go because it's beneficial, right? But there's like just a couple of exceptions, and it drives you mad trying to keep a gem at a certain level. Like
Well,
I know
yeah,
people
you
have
can-
bought the same gem like 10 times.
Yeah, you can scour them down though. You know, like
Yep.
at the
Yeah,
vendor.
no, you do that. And then you level
Yeah,
it
but
up
it's-
again, then you scour it down, then you level it up again, then you scour it down, then you level it up again, then you scour it down.
That,
then
that
you
would
remember.
never happen on console.
You
Immediately,
can
Then
get
you-
through a whole lot of scours during one
I had
single
up my
session, I
level
tell you.
3, my 3 times level cast when damage taken, like over and over and
Yeah.
over again.
you can just do it once. Like on console, you just you get the gem, you lock it, and you're done. It's never gonna go past one. I don't know. There are these issues that people like. A lot of people play on PC and they shit on console, right? But then at the same time, all they do is whine about these issues that don't
Oh,
exist on console. So
There are
it's
some
like,
things about console that are better.
I think so. I think so. Definitely. In fact, one of the coolest things about console to me is the smaller population because it makes the game a lot more closer to SSF than it seems like PC is. Because if you want something, you kind of have to get it unless it's very popular. Like there is no crafted perfect item. If I'm on PC and I'm playing, let's say the build I'm playing now, the Hierophant Frost Nova, I have a pick of the litter on what wand I want. On console, even a fractured cast speed wand is like a mirror. So you have to fracture it yourself, which means you have to go get fracturing orbs, which means you have to go kill Harbinger. So like this whole idea is so much more leaning towards SSF than PC trade. You know, like it's a fun experience to me.
That sounds like how hardcore trade is.
Yeah, people always compare it to hardcore trade. Except on hardcore trade, there isn't a lot of really high-end stuff available, you know, and if it is, it's very expensive. I feel like since softcore allows you to die, people use that to get more rare and more valuable stuff than hardcore players would.
Well, it also sort of allows you to sell off the perfect or close to perfect gear from a character that you chose to discontinue.
Yes.
Whereas on hardcore, people usually choose to discontinue
gone.
the character after it's died and
Yeah.
the equipment has left the
Everything's
league.
gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't choose to discontinue it. You have moved.
We could have continued just in a different league.
Yeah, so that's a pretty big difference between hardcore and console softcore trade for sure. But I mean, I like it. There are a lot of honestly, like I can't even think of many things that are on PC that I miss. I mean, obviously playing the game on a PC is better. That in itself, like you got a good PC with great graphics, with super fast load times and really nice looking MTX and everything looks great. Yeah, that in itself is better. But to me, I mean, I don't care how it looks when I'm drowsy, right? I want to have my feet up. I want to be chilling back, farming for loot, you know, not at a computer. So for me, it's perfect. And as far as the in-game mechanically, there are a lot of things that I like more about console. I mean, I've tried PC trade and I just don't find it to be better to me.
Fair. I was curious, like, if you had the choice, like, would you like to have the option at least to have a more saturated trade environment? Like, say if there was a a way to play in software trade PC from your console.
Of course, yeah. If I could have it any way, I would want them to merge both economies. Like, even if they're not going to allow cross, maybe I don't know. I don't know how it would work, but I thought that they were going to merge the economies because of the way they added the trade site to console. So I thought maybe that means they're going to merge the two economies, but they haven't yet, and I don't know if they might in the future. Honestly, I think they might, because they merged the launch dates. Before, the console launch date was 5 days after PC. Now they're merged. So when they did that, and then they also added the searching on the website to console, I feel like eventually they will. So
my understanding is they wanted to. It wasn't like a oh, we don't want these together. It was more like we can't actually, because they're going to deal with a bunch of console things, and the consoles are difficult to deal with.
Yeah, I remember them somehow somewhere bringing up that, like, the console screening process for if you want to put an update on your software that you make available through the console owned distribution software, Xbox or PlayStation store, right? Then there's a lot more effort that goes into making sure that the developer doesn't enclose malicious code or doesn't,
there's way more steps.
Yeah, so it just was always like a sort of technical and legal and agreement limitation, but apparently they figured it out to at least launch at the same time now, and we can only assume that that's the plan for POE1 as well, somewhere in the future. But for POE2, we know for sure that the plan is that there's cross progression, cross play, shared economies, right? Everything should be the same.
I've also noticed that POE1, the patches that you guys get on PC, before it would take like a day or two or more to come to console, but now it's almost at the same time. And I've noticed that the last couple of leagues. So it really feels like they're getting closer, at least.
That's huge. Because, like, I have like a good number of console players who check out my stream regularly, and I remember them, like, in past leagues always coming in and be like, oh, I'm just collecting tips and tricks and getting some insider knowledge for when the league starts in 5 days.
It was actually really nice. There was some benefit, because a lot of the time you guys would end up with the shittiest bugs that were so stupid, and by the time they came out on console, they were all ironed out. So you guys were beta testing for us, But now, oh man, there are so many things that I'm not used to. Like when the league started, first of all, the bottom slot of the map device not working. That is, oh no. The bottom slot eating scarabs. And then last league, I started my league doing essences. And then I was like, man, I have not transformed a single essence into one of the good ones. Then a week later, they're like, we fixed a bug where no one was able to transform essences. So literally, I wasted tons of those corrupting essences getting no special essences. It was just because of last league, they merged the economies. That would have never happened. Not economies. They merged the launch dates. That would have never happened before, but now it happens. So what are you going to do?
Damn.
That's what I mean. You got to go through growing pains, man. It's not always going to be smooth. Sure, you can't roll like 5 invitations before you run them, but I think it's better this way, personally.
Yeah, I'm really high. Battle, you wanted to say something? Sorry.
No, good. I just I'm all right. Overall, everything's great.
So you guys are all like happy with the league so far? You think that this league mechanic is a thumbs up for you? What do you think, Ballard?
I've got one thing that there's only actually one real thing that I have with League that I think was a mistake. And that is the enchant bench. Specifically, I think they went really, really, really light on it. Like they were real worried. Like they went real scared. Like there's like 2 or 3 really powerful fun enchants. And then like everything else is pretty meh.
It is weird.
There's like a whole bunch of like really meh things on there where you're like, okay, like there's something for my build, but that something for my build is 42% increased damage. So like, why? And then like you can't put them on any uniques, and like the stuff that's really cool has restrictions restricting so strict that it becomes useless, and then but then there's these outliers of like there's like a few little things where you're like, oh, this one's broken and it's allowed these brand new builds, and that's super fun.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, what does everybody else get? Nothing. And I just don't know why they went so scared about it.
Yeah,
That's
the power
all.
level granted by that bench is not nearly as high as, say, the graveyard or crucible trees or
Yeah.
like anything. It's not that. I mean, yeah, if you get 2 wands with tormented spirits, yeah, it's pretty buff. And also the whole envy and direwolf leveling thing, that's also really buff. But other than that, I feel like you're right. They really did go light on the bench.
Yeah, they went super light on that, and I'm just not really sure why.
Yeah, I don't know.
I agree, and I do wish that more of the enchants were open to different bases, because I feel like it would give a lot more like innovation or people willing to experiment with different enchants, you know?
Totally agree.
Now it's just like, yeah, if you're a caster and you're not using tormented, what are you doing type of vibe. So
It is crazy, dude. What the hell is 70% cast speed and 70% movement speed and 2 buffs? I think one of those buffs it curses the enemy with like every curse on hit.
Blasphemer. Yep.
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah. I don't have them yet, but that's where I'm at now. My wands aren't perfect, but I'm like, I only want to spend 30 divines plus on the enchant when I know my wand's in a good place. So
Yeah,
I'm like doing way less damage because I'm just using spell damage like enchants right now. But yeah, it looks insane. Yeah,
it's not even just like the damage; it's the overall feel. Like I think after right now you're using that helmet, but once you get those wands, you're gonna want a regular helmet.
Yeah, nice
so
helmet.
fast.
Yeah, yeah. It's crazy when you're using that helmet and you're like missing the 50% chance over and over and over again. It's like, damn, dude, how many times can I cast Ice Nova for 1 Frostbolt? Like, please, I beg.
That's totally because of cast speed, for sure. That
like,
doesn't happen anymore if your cast speed gets high enough, for sure.
Yeah, I think my cast speed, I ended up settling, like I said. I didn't buy Mana Fractured. I went for 1 cast speed fracture, and I'm trying to save up maybe for a Mana Fracture right now, but...
Yeah, I tried to fracture them myself. I got 1 cast speed on one, and the other one, it had spell damage with a cast speed T1, and it caught the spell damage. So I kept that one.
That's not bad, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. At least there's good prefixes to get out of it. But yeah, ideal is probably mana first, then cast speed. Yeah, the build is so buff with cast speed, it's crazy.
I also got, for mana, I got the they changed that jewel. There's a new jewel. It's called like 1 with something, or it's like the old Parandus jewel that.
Oh yeah. I kept searching for Parandus Pact forever. Yeah.
That jewel plus a natural instinct is insane. Those 2 together are outrageous.
I think I ended up selling my mana one, and I swapped over to a lightning damage one because it just gave me like give me a lot more damage currently for what I had in. I got rid of my Dorianis. I'm also I'm definitely settling. I'm using another timeless jewel, but that shit's giving me minion accuracy right now. But I was like, I'm not ready to spend 10 div on a different jewel. Like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, that's a pain too. Finding the jewel that you want, even if you use the jewel calculator.
It's such a freaking... It is a pain. I'll use the jewel calculator, and I'm like, wow, I found like 7 perfect jewels, and none of them exist. Perfect. All right, cool.
I find that you're better off searching the ones that do exist.
Yeah, that's kind of what I swapped to. Yeah, I was just like, time to just look at these fucking numbers, I guess.
Yeah, which is pretty annoying if you do it that way. But yeah, it pays off. It definitely pays off. And yeah, the lightning damage is good, right? But you get a lot of defense from
a lot of mana. I know the mana. That's what I sold it so quick, so I was like, all right, whatever.
Yeah, everyone wants it.
But it hurt me to do it, but it did give me some more damage.
Yeah.
For now.
Well, there's a ton of room to grow in that build, which is what builds. I think that's what makes them fun. When the ceiling is really high and you can just keep playing the game. It's always, to me, when I reach the point where there aren't any more meaningful upgrades. And if there's no other build that you're looking at, it's kind of hard to keep playing. So as long as there's room to grow, I like the build.
Yeah. I think my next one's going to be a Instacker, so it'll be similar. Do you play the whole league? Do you guys play like the whole league always, or do you guys stop like halfway?
For
Does it
me,
depend on the league?
I feel like I usually, if it's a really good league, I'll play Trade League a bunch. And then when I get tired of that, I'll re-roll a solo character, and then I'll wait for the next league. So I don't play the whole time, though.
I usually try and do other stuff during the last month, but I tend to play most of the whole league every league, just because whenever I play other games, I don't get views. So we're in PoE most of the time.
Yeah.
Well, you're lucky you like PoE, right? What
Oh,
if you
yeah.
hated it? That would suck.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would suck.
Mm-hmm.
I guess similar, although like I generally I'm not as big of a viewable streamer as Balor, so for me the viewer difference is not that big, and I think I do have that hardcore base audience that just will watch me, like even if I do like a kitchen stream or something like that. No, I do like to play the game for longer, and like this league around specifically, I will have, as I have a full-time day job now, will have less time to play overall, so I'll probably end up playing all the time. Like, I know not less time overall, but like throughout the entire 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months of the league. I don't know how long is the league gonna be.
Yeah, that's weird, right? PoE2 being so close, it's hard to tell how long this league will be.
Maybe
Yeah.
they pop out another banger just before POE2, or maybe they're just gonna be like, hey guys, we're just elongating this all the way until the POE2 beta.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
But that reminds me, we kind of missed our segue there, because we went really close to transitioning into talking about POE2, and then we moved away again a little bit, like rotated. But you guys,
PoE2's so far away though.
I agree.
I don't even care until we can play the beta.
And also, you know, one thing that made me a little bit disinterested in PoE2 was the difference between the first time I played it and the second time I played it. The first time it was really challenging and super hard for everyone. Everyone died. And then the next time when I played it with denipon, we were really just eating chocolate and pizza and like kicking our feet up. It was so easy. We didn't struggle. I mean, she was doing all the heavy lifting, of course, but I felt like it was way more of a laid back experience. And the overall thing that tells me is the game is in such flux and they're changing so much. It's hard to even get excited about something that's changing that much. I'd like to get my hands on it to get like in a more complete state so I can have a real opinion about it, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe that's just me, because I really don't like, personally, as a like someone who plays video games, I don't like to be directly involved in the way the game changes. I don't like that. I like the developer to maintain their vision of the game and what they want. And even if it's stupid, to me, I can respect that this is how, like, for example, all those times Chris Wilson has said, like, well, the reason this is why we do it is because it was like that in Diablo 2. And then the person interviewing him says, but dude, Diablo 2 is like a 30-year-old game. Nobody gives a fuck about it. And he's like, well, you don't like Diablo 2? Go fuck yourself. That's the way it's going to be. You know, I really respect that, because at the end of the day, video games
very nicely paraphrased. I think that's almost 100% quote accurate.
More or less. You get the sentiment, though, you know, and that's because this is his, he takes pride in his game, right? And this is how he wants his game to be. If you're an artist painting a picture and someone comes up and goes, hey, you know, yeah, this is a good picture and all, but this flower over here, it should be over there. Aren't you going to say, like, excuse me, sir, but go fuck yourself, right? This is my painting, and this is how I want to paint it. And I can really respect that. And over the years, a lot of developers that I've been involved with have very obviously abandoned their vision just for the sake of change or just for the sake of the audience, like the fans. And when you start to let the audience really control your game, the entire mood of your community changes, and everyone becomes a little whiny bitch and starts asking for what they want and complaining. And I think that the reason that happens Just the same way you train your dog is you allowed your dog to think it's okay to bark. And Chris Wilson does a great job of making people really understand, like, yeah, this is the way it is, dude. It's my game, and I understand you don't like it, but this is how we want it. And there were many instances where that's how they said it. Like, we don't agree. Like getting rid of identification scrolls or, you know, things like that. We don't agree. We want this, you know, and they give their reasons. And I like that. You know, I respect that a lot.
That's a great point. I really, I think that there was so many points where I wanted to hook in, but like, I think that was something really important that we let you say, because I don't think anyone has ever said it like that.
I don't even think it's true.
Which part?
Well, I mean, we have to dissect the statement, obviously. I 100% agree with the artist's vision needs to be the artist's vision and not like muddled with like what the audience expects too much. Although, of course, to a certain degree, you gotta cater to your audience, otherwise you have no audience, right? There's really a thin line to ride.
It's definitely difficult. Agreed.
Quick, but do you want to respond to that, Danny, or do you want to quickly give us your view of like how POE2? Because you were in LA with us, and I think just like me, you only got to play POE2 once so far, or were you also at ExileCon or
Only one
another
time, yeah.
previous game test?
It was my first time playing it at that event.
And you carried Eris all the way.
I do think that the build I played was pretty buff. The minions were feeling pretty like good, honestly, and I think the damage is still pretty good for the early acts, but we went through it kind of slow. I think we ended up unfortunately bugging out our game, sadly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I was wondering that. I was wondering if it felt really easy because we were playing co-op, or if it was because like the game just got so much easier between the last like patch that they let everybody play on. I did think that we were like, it didn't feel as hard as like the first time I played through the campaign in PoE, like at all. But
as like an observer of other people playing the two versions, to me it was vastly different. The first time that I played it, a lot of the same people were there, and a lot of, you know, it was a room full of people, right? If you were just listening, you could hear people slamming their controllers. You could hear people say "fuck" and like dying. You know, like people were literally throwing tantrums. And the second time we played, nothing. Me and denipon were the loudest people there. We were just. Our TV was loud. Everything was loud. You know, everyone was having fun, and no one was throwing tantrums. So to me, it was vastly different. They made big changes with the mana system, not mana, health potion system. Before, you had to constantly go back to town, and that made it so that if you were fighting a really hard pack, you would run out of health potions. Then you'd have to run away from them to cast your portal, which took time, right? So that made people die a lot. And I think that change alone made it way easier. But in general, for sure, it was easier. For sure.
Yeah, because I didn't have the luxury of playing it before either. Like, so it's really interesting to hear from you, but also now from Balor, because I was under the impression that the ExileCon demos were like extremely hard. And what we got when I was there, I almost had this disconnect where it was like, it's easy to play. It's like easy to get into. Of course, I died because I played like an idiot, right? And I played the melee monk and staccato styled in front of the enemies at the wrong time when they were all in the middle of their attack animation and about to shoot their projectiles into my face. But overall, like, it didn't feel quite like that merciless game that was presented.
Definitely.
But I thought maybe it's because we're taking it extra slow and over leveling and over gearing, or maybe it's because couch co-op is actually a little bit stronger because we get the synergy between the two players. What did you think, Balor?
Or maybe it's because at ExileCon they specifically told us, yo, we've tuned this game up because everybody who showed up here is a fucking degenerate. And so we've definitely made it harder than it's supposed to be because we think this crowd will enjoy it more difficult. But this is not the way it'll be. And they explicitly told us that.
Yeah.
Right.
And maybe that's got something to do with it. Just saying.
I thought it was more fun when it was harder. I thought that the bosses.
Of course, that's why they did that at ExileCon, because all the degenerates were going to show up, but they was never going to stay that hard. That was explicitly told to us.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
like directly outright told.
Well, it was PC. The
Okay.
second,
You go
sorry,
first,
no, I was gonna say, I think we might have the same thought. The second playtest was on PC though, right? Didn't you guys have to play mouse and keyboard for the second playtest?
I don't know
Or
which
the
one
first
the
one that
second
you
one.
went to?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the first one I went to was on PC, but I brought my own pad and I said, "Hey, can I plug this in?" And he said, "Yeah, it will work, but pad support is not ready to show. So there will be like problems." And there were. Compare didn't work, and there were little things that didn't work, but overall you could control your character fine. So I used pad the first time I played. So there was no difference as far as controlling the character, but it was way easier the second time. Way easier. It could have been just you. That could be true. Could have been just denipon killing everyone.
No, it'd just be easier. I don't know. I don't know what the scaling is. It scaling just like increased life based on party size, or is it increased life and also damage from monsters based on party size?
Yeah, I
Like-
don't know.
I don't know how everybody else feels. Clearly, other people still want to talk about it. For me, until it's time to play POE2, I'm not just like sick of talking about it. I'm sick of hearing about it until it's ready to play.
Damn!
And we've been on it for 2 fucking years.
Well, I'll be
Damn
playing
excited.
it this
I'm
week.
looking
Yeah,
forward to
hey,
it.
hey,
we'll
hey.
get to it when it's available. I just don't care until it's that time. Let
I
me
agree
into the
with you to
beta.
an
Let me
extent.
play, and then I'll get
You cared
excited
a lot
again.
when
That's
we
the
were in
time.
LA. I think you're just
Yeah,
It's
I got to
more
play it in
trying
LA.
to
That was the time.
compartmentalize.
Yeah.
I talked it there. Oh,
Whoa,
excuse
what's
me.
that?
Oh god, help.
Balor is just employing his coping mechanism to deal with the fact that he can't play POE2 just
Did
yet.
you hear like a jackhammer in the background somewhere?
That's exactly what you
No?
heard. I have a plumber over putting in a new toilet.
Oh, nice. New toilet.
I've
Yeah,
been muting the
Let's go.
the thing every time he makes noises, but I was actively
Wait,
talking at that time,
seriously?
so I didn't mute it. What do you mean
Wow.
seriously?
Well, we haven't heard it a single time in a 1.5 hour podcast. That's pretty
Yeah,
impressive.
I've been
considering
active on the
fact that
mute
you
button.
Yeah, but you're also
Nice.
playing a game at the same time and doing the podcast.
He's got
Yeah, and
skills,
talking to
man.
chat and replying to them.
Look at this guy.
And I got Discord
Balor,
open.
you're a savant. What is savant? Savant.
Yeah, I'm just multitasking. It's just a thing.
I also just realized by saying that I'm going to play the game next week that I just lied and I said I'd never played the game before. I played it at the Gamescom, at the playtest in LA, and obviously I played it at Gamescom last year, right? No, it definitely was tuned easier. I remember struggling so hard.
Yeah, everyone.
And I
was.
also played a completely different part of the game. So it's
Hey,
hard
Valor's gonna
compare.
get pissed if you keep talking about POE2, dude.
Dude, we have like 28 minutes at least in this podcast left. We have to talk about POE2. We
Why?
were all
Can
in
we
LA
talk about
together. We haven't done a
POE1?
single episode talking about LA yet because we didn't have like a setup like this.
I'm
Right.
just kidding. You can talk about whatever you want. I just don't want Valor to get pissed.
Yeah, I don't want Pellet to
Did
get
you
pissed
unbutton
either.
another button, Valor?
No, I just
Respect.
sat up.
Are you secretly
Shut up
unbuttoning?
a
dude?
little. I'm not stripping live on the podcast.
First
Not for
I
free.
had Mathel's nipples, and now this, dude? What is this community about, dude?
Listen, people pay for this, all right?
I'm sure they do. How much gold on the auction house, dude? How much gold is that? But yeah, let's talk more about the LA event. That was really cool. I had a good time. I liked it a lot. Both of them. They were both really fun.
Yeah, you were to both, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. We all.
I'm jealous.
Yeah.
I only went to one.
Oh,
One.
the PC one was like the hardcore one because all the pros were there. They were all really. They had timers out and they were speed running on their little keyboards and shit, throwing tantrums. Yeah, they were serious. All the pros were there. So that was really cool. It was nice to meet everybody. And I was honestly really honored to be invited because I don't necessarily see myself as
It's gotta be a
POE
running
streamer,
gag, dude.
you know? But it was
Now
cool
that we
they-
react to it, I can't even cut it out if I want to put in that extra effort. Although I
Nah,
promised
why
I
would
put
you
in
cut it
extra
out? It's
effort in other
authentic.
episodes, and then I didn't do it.
Part of the vibes.
Yeah, it's authentic, man. You don't want to cut that out.
Yeah. So, a POE event LA. I was there. It was great. I would have loved to be at the PC playtest because PC is actually my main domain, and I actually had to go out of my comfort zone to play on console A and then B on controller.
Yeah.
But it did impress me, and I liked it so much that I actually ended up doing the entire Ruthless SSF playthrough all the way to maps. Well, not beyond maps, but at least the acts for like a Rain of Arrows. Raider, right before they removed Raider. So one last time Raider.
Yeah. Man, that's crazy. I didn't try the new one. The new
Warden?
Ascendancy.
Yeah.
But it seems really great. I'm happy that they got rid of Raider. That Ascendancy I thought was only good for heisting at the start of the league.
I like Raider.
Why? What did you play? What's good on it?
Raider.
Oh, you know, you're right though. Let me look. I have to
Oh,
look. I don't
you
even know
agree,
the
but
last
you like
time. I was
it.
like, I do like. I mean, I heard New Warden's good, but I always
like
like
Raider,
Bow
though.
Girl. Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I
Permaphasing-
probably played Deadeye more than anything.
Yeah, but like permaphasing, you know what? I don't miss Raider. I miss the Forbidden Jewels for Raider that gave me permanent phasing.
Yeah. It felt like it was too weak of an ascendancy. Like it felt like a beginning ascendancy that you always switched off of. And I don't like that idea. I don't like the idea of an entire ascendancy being a leapfrog into Deadeye or something, you know. That to me was not that sick, but it was fine, you know. There are a lot of ascendancies that are kind of weird, you know, so
It's an interesting thought that you don't like that it being just a leapfrog. I kind of feel like that's a case for a lot of things in the game, that they're only good at a specific stage, like specific skills or specific items, or you know. And
but those things are not an
thought of it-
ascendancy.
That's true, right? Yeah,
This game doesn't
ascendancies,
have
there's
classes,
only a few, and they should all be meaningful and not just be a stepping stone to each other.
Right, because an item like a unique can be a stepping stone item. A skill can be a stepping stone, like, you know, rolling magma or whatever. But an ascendancy, this game doesn't have classes. It really is ascendancies. That's really, it defines your character. So for an entire ascendancy to be a stepping stone, it doesn't do justice to that character, to me. It should be strong enough to compete. If I had to say, that's what I would say. At the end game, like they should all be strong at the end game, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to dispute that point.
Yeah.
But I mean, they agree, right? They got rid of Raider. And
They got rid of it, yeah.
Ascendancy.
Was that the case for Raider though? That's just how I never perceived Raider as being like something that you never play at endgame.
I can't think.
I know
of
how strong
Raider
Pathfinder
build.
or Deadeye were, but like I know definitely also a couple of friends of mine who were like Raider, dude, Raider.
I mean,
Maybe
it's
they
fun.
only were like that
It's
because
fun
they
at
liked
the
it so
start of
much
the
for
league.
starting.
But I never heard of someone playing like a really end game Raider build. I mean, it could be true. There's a lot of things I haven't heard of, but it just seemed like that ascendancy was always recommended if you're doing early heist or something like, you know, you want to go really fast at the beginning, but you're going to switch into Deadeye once you get this one unique or whatever.
Yeah. The I don't know, the bit that weirded me out was reworking Ascendancy completely changed it. Sure. Actually delete the name Raider and replace it with the new Ascendancy? Feel weird.
A little.
Feel weird.
A little. Agreed. They could have just called the new one Raider, right? The new Raider.
Yeah, and just rework Raider.
Yeah, I agree.
Could have been. I don't know. I'm not like against it. Like, it's not a big deal. It's just weird because when they've completely reworked other Ascendancies, they've never done that before.
Yeah, agreed.
They would just been
they
like,
reworked Gladiator.
instead of reworking it, we're just straight up deleting it and then putting a new one in its place. It just feels weird.
Which is the same as reworking it and just putting a new name and a new graphic on it.
Yeah. It feels bad to say Raider is gone, even though I didn't really like Raider. So yeah, I agree with you in that sense. I don't even know when the last time they did that was. When's the last time they removed an ascendancy in a rework?
Never.
There was
No,
one.
it's always just
Never? They've completely reworked an ascendancy so it's completely different than what it ever was before.
But never
But,
changed.
Nah.
I don't think they've ever actually changed
Wow, that's pretty
an
big.
ascendancy ever.
Surprising that they did. They must have really been hype about that whole Warden.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. When they brought Warden in, they're like, "Nah, this name's too good. We gotta use it.
Gotta use it. It's so sick.
They could have used
Maybe.
POE2.
I think I've seen a pattern emerging there. Maybe they have something special planned for the name Raider, and it's going to be used in a different context, and they're phasing it out there so that there's no
Maybe.
ambiguity
Maybe the
in the
next,
game.
yeah, there's an ascendancy in POE2 called Raider, and people will be hyped with the nostalgic link. I loved Raider.
That's one possible interpretation. Maybe Raider reveal at Gamescom.
Could be.
Hmm.
How many cats do you have, denipon?
2. Yeah. It
Cool.
always looks like the same cats on stream because they're brothers and they look like almost identical.
Cool.
It's almost
Got
dinner
it.
time
Back
for
on
them.
one.
I'm jealous.
Yeah, I know. I like your fine art in the background, Catmaster.
I get this gifted. That's actually super cool. Like, because it somewhat looks like my cat, but obviously it was painted like 30 years ago or so, so it's not my cat.
Or maybe it is.
Maybe it was a fortune teller. Who knows? Navali, secret artwork.
I keep asking my chat, I'm like, guys, do you remember Navali? Do you miss her? And they're all like, no.
Who's
No.
Navali?
I like the
Navali
character. I like the
That's what
character,
you
but I
mean.
hated prophecies. Prophecies were whack, but
I
I did like the
mean-
character.
When I was new and broke, I spent a lot of time making frogs and rats to make a little bit of currency. So
I wasn't into it. With no prophecy tab. Ugh.
I do miss
oh, true. Yeah.
Navali is
I
cool
do
and all.
slightly miss having frogs and rats.
Yeah, I miss frogs and
It's
rats.
just extra 400 mobs in my map.
Yeah, I just
And
like killing
don't
lots
fight
of
back.
monsters. Yeah. That's why I have a hard time. So I'm still rolling for pack size. Like, I don't really pay as much attention to rarity as I should. And I think I'm okay because I think I'm making pretty decent money from the maps that I'm running, but maybe I'm not making as much as I can if I would prioritize rarity, I guess. Item quantity, does that matter?
I don't think that-
One of these what I roll for.
Yeah.
But you know, the whole idea of I don't know if I could be making more if I did something different. That whole idea really is gonna end up being detrimental for your overall fun, I think. So
Yeah. I just go for more monsters. I'm like
I think
35 plus, I'm in there.
people really throw around the whole FOMO for Path of Exile, and I think that that's a big trap. Like, you know, accidentally selling something for too low of a price, or not being able to run T17s, or really, honestly, that whole
Oh, wait,
grass
can I-
greener-
Can
Go
I just throw out one in that I saw on Twitter recently?
Yeah,
The fear of missing out, of not farming enough gold before you go to bed, so your town will keep running the entire night before you come back. That's
yeah, I've
seems to
heard
be
that too.
very, very prevalent.
Yeah, I've heard that too. I mean, I don't know. I've never played a cell phone game before, and I've never played a game where I've experienced this type of the game is running while you're gone. Like there's farming happening while you're gone. I've never played that before. And to me, without it being predatory, like the way some cell phone games are, I have no problem with it. I think it's pretty fun. But at the same time, I've never once at night thought, well, I don't have enough gold for my town to keep going until I wake up. That's never happened to me. I think that would suck if it happened to me. I would not feel good about it, for sure.
It had me in a chokehold like the first week, and then I was like, "What the fuck ever?" Like,
Sucks,
look,
right?
as long as these farmers are doing their job, I'll get to it when I wake up. It's okay.
Yeah.
And as soon as you've got an okay outlet strategy, seem to have infinite gold. Like gold just
More or
falls
less.
on the ground, and so much of it more than you need. Like it should be fine as long as you put some rarity on your gear.
Yeah, I think a big part of it is not having big buff workers in certain categories. Like you don't need buff workers as smelters, you don't need buff workers as miners, because those resources are way more like finite. The wheat and shit is where you want the buff workers, and the mappers and even the boat guys. I think that all 10s for your boats is gonna bring you better loot than mid tier. I don't think it's just about risk. I think it's about pillaging skill, I guess, or whatever.
Well, technically, I think you're right, and you don't need those workers there. I've still got like rank 10s everywhere.
Yeah, but you don't like a lot of
Just-
people are stressed over not having enough gold, right? But you don't need to upgrade your recombinator. You don't need to upgrade your crafting bench until you have the runes for it, right? So there's a lot of things that you can completely ignore, but your instinct tells you you want to equally build your town, but it's not necessary.
Nah, gotta max out everything. Gotta get max workers.
Yeah,
And
eventually.
there's a
of
larger
course.
number than 9. That's why.
Of
That's all.
course.
That's
Yeah.
that's the reason.
Yeah, I had maxed out stuff too until I started killing off mappers accidentally. But yeah, and then when something like that
Abandoned.
happens, your gold is down to 0 because now you got to start re-rolling for 10s again. So yeah, I mean, there are ways to optimize it for sure. On your journey to Ballard Town, you're definitely gonna have some ways to make it easier, so you don't feel that whole FOMO thing.
And 100%. If anybody's still struggling with gold at this point, put on a gold flask. It's called a
I've been
gold
selling
flask.
those actually. That's what I've been doing. Rolling
called
and
the gold
selling
rolling
them.
them.
Put the gold flask on.
Yeah.
Get more.
Yeah, it makes a
T1
difference.
prefix
I agree.
and then benchcraft item rarity. Yeah.
Yeah. That was a lot harder to do at the beginning of the league because of the scarcity of all the baubles and the instilling and all that other shit.
Yeah. Dude.
Oh yeah.
Begging for whetstones at the start of the league. What the hell?
I like that though. I feel like they made certain currency way less useless at the start. So that was kind of nice. You all right, Ballard?
don't-
Indigestion?
A little bit.
I don't like that they made all the workers multi-talented. I don't really know what the thought process was behind having them have multiple jobs because I don't think anybody is moving any of their workers to a new place. Like, no, like you're here to be a farmer, bro. Like that's
Yeah, that's
that's
your life.
it. That's
Probably because they
it.
can die. That's my guess.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, but it's rough. Like I'm even if say a mapper would die, there's no way I'm taking my T9 farmer off to do T7 mapping.
Sure.
Like that's just not
Yeah.
happening.
It's not happening.
But what I have done is I've gotten mappers who are also high-level boat guys, so that way you can interchange them with each other. So that combo is pretty good. Oh, another thing that you could do to save money is not have maximum level disenchanters. Those guys are really expensive, and they are unnecessary because it's just going to happen anyway. And if you don't have the other currency to back up the blue dust, then you don't need them to be going max speed and eating all your gold. So I don't know. That's in my experience.
Yeah, I guess they work faster, and I do think that mapping is like the highest weighted job skill for all of them. If anyone has any mapping on them, it's like plus 1,000 gold per hour,
Yeah.
which sucks.
Yeah.
So I just end up spending all my 22k rerolls looking for like single job guys or guys that don't have mapping as well on them.
I mean,
It's-
it depends, but if I get a 10 mapper, I'll try to get it. Usually I'll try and get a 10 mapper because I feel like, especially since I killed all of them, they're not as common as I want, especially ones that don't have another job that's like raising their price too high. So yeah, it takes a lot of gold, but I
think
agree with
you're all-
Valor. Gold flask makes a big difference.
I think you're all real focused on the wrong thing. Like
I'm
focus
focused
on
on
making
the
your
hairs,
town-
dude.
Gold.
focusing on making your town cost less gold is so much less fun and less efficient than focusing on making more gold.
Should I just
So
pick
you
the
don't
high
have
tier
to worry.
ones and be
That's
okay?
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is
Like
one
I'm
way
trying to
do it.
make everything tier 10. Even my miners who very clearly, you only need like 2 or 3 miners total to
Yeah.
get through all the ore you could possibly get. I'm still trying to get them all to tier 10 because just the bigger number, better person.
Of course.
But if you make enough gold, then it doesn't matter.
That's true. That's absolutely true. I mean, that's the idea, right? The idea is to have a perfect town, right? But
Yeah.
you, Balor, were born and had to learn to walk and had a journey to arrive to your greatness. So we're talking about that journey. Sure, eventually everyone will be in Balor Town, and they'll have all 10s everywhere, and their shirt's gonna be unbuttoned, and they're gonna be chilling, chest hair and shit. But yeah, there's a journey to get there, and that takes time. And on that journey, efficiency matters, So yeah, I think it depends.
Yeah, I'm still. I wouldn't say I'm gold poor, but I think it's because I'm choosing not to engage with like half the town right now. Basically, like I'm definitely missing out on mappers. I'm always like, fuck mappers. And then, there's always somebody who's like, I got a mage blood for my yellow maps, or I just got a mirror. And I'm like, oh.
I feel like every time I walk back over to my mappers, I have a divine or a Valdos box in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty common. I feel like if you fill it with maps, every time you're going to get at least a divine. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go.
I was going to say at the start of the league, I ran Infested Valley like crazy trying to get the Rislata's Coil card. And I ran that map so many times and dropped like 3 of them, right? And then I started mapping and put all Infested Valleys into the map device, and they brought back a whole stack. What the hell? I ran that map for like hundreds of maps and got 3 cards, and they ran 12 and brought back a whole stack. So I have a feeling that the mappers can bring back div cards.
They can be kind of buff. Yeah.
They bring back everything.
But
maybe it's worth to invest.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I think mappers are good, but I think they're all good. I think the boaters are good too.
My mappers spend most of their days running 8-mod corrupted maps. That's how good they are.
Yeah, I mean, that's where you have to. It's just 10s, right? You can't get like what could make them better?
9s and 10s. I'm putting in there.
Yeah. There's nothing else you can do though, right? Like it's just you have all maxed out in one map device, and they're all 10, right? That's it.
I run all 3.
Right. But what I'm saying is like at that point, once they're all 10, you're not going to get less of a, there's a margin of error where it says this map will be completed 74% to 100. That will never be 100, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any way to get that to...
I haven't seen that before where it's guaranteed 100 for like 8-mod corrupted and qualityed maps. It doesn't ever get to 100 no matter what.
The one bit that's interesting, I did send one of my devices with tier 17 maps, like a full set of them. None of them died, but it was so bad. That's not worth it. I lost so much money.
Yeah. 10% completion on each map.
Yeah,
what 5%
only like
completion?
4 out of 12 even gave me the fragment back. Like,
wow,
I lost
that's what I was gonna
much.
ask. How many fragments did you get back? Ouch! Wow. Wow.
That was rough. Don't do that. Don't send them to tier 17s. That's not worth. They do not return.
What I wonder is if there's a way for you to set up your shipments that kind of reaches a threshold that unlocks things like a mirror or a mage blood. I feel like that could be there and people don't know it yet. Because for me, it seems so random on what you can get. You can get good things from low amounts. You can get good things from high amounts, but I haven't gotten anything like a mirror yet. So, or even a mirror shard, or even like any kind of item that's really good. So I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that's how I feel. I think it's random currently, but I firmly believe it's random. But until someone is like, yeah, if you send out 500 million every time, you'll get back XYZ return.
You know how like before it was like 8,000 blue stuff would multiply your shipment by whatever it was 3 times. Mm-hmm. Well, I feel like what if there is a number that once you go past this number of blue stuff, you now have 100% more likely to drop rare currency. Something like that. Threshold number could exist that is not like obvious. So I don't know. It won't mean you will drop it, but the chance could get raised. And I feel like that's probably how it is. And I just don't know the number, or maybe no one does. I don't know. Because what else does that number do other than raise the value of your shipment? It doesn't multiply anymore. So
so only additive.
Something.
My understanding is it was just like straight. There were going to be no thresholds anymore. Just like a straight linear. Put in as much extra juice as you want. That was my understanding.
Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely not as clear as I feel like it was before. It just feels like it was more clear before. Now, I don't know. I don't know how it works. Just put stuff in there and pray.
The problem is before we just thought we understood it and we didn't, because there were apparently like never any breakpoints. Like that wasn't a real thing. It was one of those, I forget what they're called. The things that like the graph that like goes like that.
Diminishing returns? Is that what you're talking about?
Sure.
Okay.
And so like people worked out like roughly where the 2 times was. Yeah. But it's not like putting 1,000 extra in didn't do anything. Like you just kept going up the thing. There was no like, oh, reach this special breakpoint and putting it. No, more was always better, just with diminishing returns to a certain extent. It wasn't like reach this breakpoint and get. Like that wasn't ever a thing.
So it wasn't a hard breakpoint, but a soft breakpoint, basically.
Yeah, basically. It reminded me of a magic find in Diablo 2, where like after 400, you could get 800 magic find, but it was pointless because after 400, it's really like, you know, where it's at. That's the sweet spot. If you look at the graph, it's like at that point, you're wasting slots, you're wasting character power. And that's kind of how it felt like with the blue stuff, where, yeah, you could put more than 8,000, but man, you're really losing on blue stuff at that point. So I don't know. I preferred it then just because it was obvious that the game was telling you this is where the diminishing returns are. Now that that's gone, sometimes you feel like sending 1 billion, like whatever, man, I'm sick of these boats. Bring me a mirror. You know, it's like there's really nothing stopping you from doing that. And you don't know what it's going to do. So I don't know. I preferred it before, but still good. Still like it better than the graveyard.
Yeah. Well, maybe we will still figure it out as a community. Maybe this is going to be clearer as like people do more experimenting. But yeah, I was curious about, you said that disenchanters, you only keep like 1 high-level enchanter or like really low-level enchanters because you keep the costs low and you don't need that much dust. Isn't it more? But I always thought more dust is always better, and like
it is
items or like stuff to disenchant is not the limiting factor. So the only limiting factor to how much dust you're generating is how many disenchanters of high level you have, and so it seems like counterproductive to me to
So obviously it's going to depend on what type of shipments you're sending, right? If your shipments have a ton of blue stuff, you're going to need your disenchanters going full force. But like I said, I don't feel like it's worth it to put in crazy shipments. Even Balor's doing that once a week, he said. So if you're sending small shipments out with small amounts of blue stuff, then you don't need to be spending all your gold disenchanting. That's all I'm saying. That's all I've noticed. You don't need to spend all your gold disenchanting. That's all. Especially if you're not in Balortown yet.
I definitely want as much dust as I can possibly get.
Yeah, if you have all 10s, of course, you're going to be feeding it T1 uniques, but T0 uniques. But like, you know, if gold is an issue, then for sure you don't need maxed out disenchanters. At least I haven't needed them.
So the thing about that is they don't cost anything while they're not running.
Yeah, that's true. But they should always be running though, right?
So like having 1 or having 10 doesn't make a difference to the cost of disenchanting X amount of items. It just means you'll have, when you put them in, the dust will finish way faster.
Right, but you have a gold income, right? And then you have a gold cost. So if your gold cost is too high, you can save on your gold cost by lowering your disenchanters and how fast they're going, especially if you're not using it that fast. That's all I'm saying.
What I'm saying is, right. So it's going to cost, let's just think about it another way. So you could run either, I'm just going to, for math reasons, make it easy on numbers.
Just for the record, I already got what you mean, but I'm just curious what.
You say they cost 1,000 each to run,
sure,
and you can only have 5 of them because 1,005 is easier, right?
Okay.
So you're gonna put fucking items take 10 minutes each, right? And you're gonna go and put 6 items in there. You've got one dude. It takes 10 minutes. It's still going to cost you the same amount whether you have 1 dude and it takes 10 minutes or you have 5 dudes and it takes 2 minutes. The gold cost is the same
in cost, but not in time. They go through
so
the cost.
If you have more,
gold faster.
It happens quicker, but then it stops. It's the same cost.
Sure, but if you if you only have 10,000 gold or whatever the amount of gold is, and that amount of gold is limited, you want to use that for, let's say, sending out some boats and some mappers.
In real life, you could take a plane somewhere and be there in an hour, and it'll cost you $600. Or you can drive and it'll take you 9 hours and cost you $600. What one are you doing?
Yeah, but dude, you're ignoring a lot of factors. You're like, how much money do you have? How quickly can you generate the money? And will you have enough money, at the moment?
The same amount of money.
Yes, but dude, I mean, come on, man. What are you talking about, dude? Think about what you're saying. Yes, it's the same amount of money, but then why do they even have loans? Why even have a loan? It's the same amount of money, but you don't have it right now, dude. You got to make payments. You got to, work towards.
No, if you have that's his entire point. Is you have A amount of money, you have B amount of money because A equals B.
It's the same amount
A is
of money.
just 10 workers taking 1 hour to do a thing, and B is doing 1 worker taking 10 hours to do a thing. And they all earn the same money from you that you pay in their salary. So the only difference is like how fast
it's going. Exactly.
Yeah, but then they idle afterwards, so you don't pay any more money. So in both cases, you pay the same amount of money, with the exception maybe that the higher cost workers are maybe slightly less cost efficient. I don't know how much enchantment power per money enchanters have based on their level. I didn't do the math, right?
The logic I'm using is, when you look at the dude in town, he talks about how much your town costs per hour, right? And that number goes down if you have less disenchanters.
It also goes down when the disenchanters are done with working.
But it stays high until it finishes. So yes, the wage in my town will jump, and you'll be like, "Oh my god, how am I going to afford 70,000?" And then a minute and a half later, it'll be done, and it'll go 3,000, and yours will sit at 10,000 for the next hour and a half instead of just using and being done. It's the same amount of gold. The only difference is, if you do it my way, you have the option, if you have excess gold, of dumping a whole bunch of stuff in there and getting dust quickly. You don't get that option, but the cost is the same.
But you also get the option of, instead of using your resources on disenchanting, you can use your resources on mapping, or at the same time.
Same amount of resources.
Okay, quick, cut the topic here.
Sure.
Denny, who won? Who made his point better? Balor or Aris?
I think that they're misunderstanding each other.
Yeah, I don't even think that I'm agreeing with Balor and trying to explain to him the difference in mentality.
I think Aris is talking about being a poor kid with no gold versus actually having gold.
I feel like there's an obvious difference in what we're saying. What you're saying is different than what I'm saying.
So if you're running short on gold, wait a minute, and then put the items in the disenchanter when you've got gold.
I mean, what's the difference?
But I need the dust now.
Yeah, what's the difference?
You're not going to get the money.
You're not getting it now with just one dude. You're going to wait forever.
No, but let's say you have dust, right? But you have enough to send your boats out, but you don't have gold. That's all I'm saying. There are scenarios where you have plenty of dust, but you don't have gold. And in those scenarios, you don't want to use that gold unnecessarily on dust.
And if you don't want to use gold, don't put an item in the disenchanter.
Or do, right? Or yes, you could, right?
Don't put the item in if you don't want to use it's the same cost regardless. Just choose not to put an item in it if you need gold.
Why are you using the word choose in that sentence? Why use the word choose?
Well, it doesn't make any sense.
I mean, you do need to disenchant because you do need dust to upgrade the town, right? Like, you can't just get through each level of the town without dust, right?
Sure.
So you do, so no matter what, you will want to have a low-cost disenchanter. And I get what you're saying, because if they're idle, they're obviously not supposed to be costing you any money whatsoever.
Zero.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess at the same point, as you're leveling up your town, you're not even going to have access to a high-level disenchanter because you're still fucking rolling at level 5 town standards, right? So
I mean, there were a lot of instances where I only started, like I'd have one level 10 disenchanter until I was running low. Then I put way more because I needed it now. And then when I didn't need it now, I would put less because I just don't want to waste my gold on that. That until you get to a certain level.
There's no wasting gold. It's the same amount of gold.
So it's a matter of the way the words sound coming out of my mouth, Balor. Is that what it is? I'm
No,
saying
I think
word
you're
wait.
both like
You don't
arguing
like-
different cases.
Categorically
That's the
wrong.
thing.
Like, not a
You
matter
don't-
of opinion. It's categorically wrong.
I mean, I don't know if you could just say that and have your
But I
shirt
can.
unbuttoned that deep, and for me to take you that seriously, dude. You're
But I
turning pink,
can.
man.
You can, because that's not how the math works.
Oh,
It's driving me crazy.
I'll concede to you, Balor. You win this one.
the fucking shirt, it got him. I can't believe
No,
it.
you're both right. It's just like it doesn't. It's
Yeah,
not
I mean,
mutually
I-
exclusive.
Me.
I don't find this to be one of those scenarios where one person needs to be wrong. But if I did, I think that you would be
The
wrong. in
only
arguing.
thing where you were wrong, Eris, is that you thought you were like that Balor's argument was something against you, and you brought the same argument again against something that didn't really counter Balor's
Yeah,
argument.
neither of us. This is what I've been trying to say. We are not arguing. You're explaining something that I agree with, and I'm trying to tell you there are scenarios where you don't need all your disenchanters to be maxed out. That's it.
But when you
Go
do
ahead,
that, it's
go ahead.
wrong.
What's that?
But when you're doing that, it's wrong.
Well, I don't know
Sorry.
if that is. You could use that same pink logic that you're using right now on a lot of things. Like you could say you're wrong if you're not chiseling your maps. You're wrong, and you would be correct to some. But
That's
I
not
don't
the
think
same.
that it's. I don't think that it's like necessarily a mistake at all. I don't think it's wrong. I've heard
I think
other people
wrong
say
depends
that's
on
how
a
they
lot
do
of
it too. It's not
context.
just my idea. I mean,
The thing is, those are like strategy-based or opinion-based things. You're like chat is saying, you're saying, well, in my mind, 2 + 2 = 5, and I must be right. It's not an opinion-based thing. This is not like a we can have a differing views or a different strategy this is just math. It's just math, and in just math, there's a right answer and a wrong answer.
yeah, but dude, I'm saying you're right. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong.
All right, guys. This was lovely. I'm pretty sure this will all seem silly in hindsight.
Dude,
And
This
Chad,
is
enjoy
Chad
it.
has
By the way,
asked me
we're
on
fine.
multiple occasions.
No, we're fighting next
This is
time.
still
It's on
friendly.
site. It's
I am
on site.
fighting him, but we are.
It's on site next time we see each other.
You mean fist fighting?
open up the pit, like
I can't fist fight Balor,
Yeah.
dude. Chainmails? I don't know.
I don't
about
even know
that.
who to put my money on. I think it's pretty even.
Fist fight? I don't know.
Yeah.
I fight too dirty for that.
I
But
run before I fight.
all I know is that I left disenchanting alone until I had to upgrade my town. And I was like, I guess I gotta do this. And then I'm still kind of like, okay. And then it was a long wait until I can just do unique items because that's all I wanted to throw into the
yeah,
disenchanter.
that's big. That's a
Oh.
big.
Yeah.
Last point, which is not a part of the argument. I did make that module in case anybody's wondering. I made a
Oh.
filter module to put little highlights on some of the less common but also shit uniques that you would normally not have picked up because they're worthless, that are worth like 50 to 100,000 gold or whatever. Because the big expensive ones are still showing up on your filters. They're still in the strict area, but there's a whole bunch.
Yeah, like the baby
that are
ones
worth
aren't
a lot of
showing up,
dust.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a whole bunch worth a lot of dust that are not normally
Showing up.
even on a filter, like they're trash
Yeah.
items. So we made a module. You don't have to use my filters for it. The module exists in Filterblade. You can just look for Author Baylor Mage and find the one that says dust filter. You can just apply it to your filter whenever you want. That helped me get a lot more dust because I just pick items up off the floor. To be fair, it's only like a few of them a day. They're not like super common because it's based on rarity. But
Yeah.
they're ones that you would normally never pick up or never glance at.
Yeah.
So
I've just
It
been
does make
doing
a really big difference.
the uniques, and then I've been corrupting influence items because I think for the most part, influence items are not going to lose their influence from being corrupted, and a lot of the times, like 2,000 more dash, like on top of whatever it was once you veil it.
Yep.
So I haven't found any like big unique item. I think the highest I've seen so far is like 20k dust from a unique, but I've heard someone say they got like 1 million from one, like a T2X. Yeah.
Ones and whatnot.
Yeah.
I heard
Yeah.
about that too.
But that filter thing for it will highlight all the dusts that are worth like 80 to 100k, which there are like plenty of that you do get. They're just, you don't know to pick them up because why would you? They've been trash items for the last 4 years. They've been filtered out on most people's filters. Even if they were shown, you'd glance over it and just be like, not that, right? So
yeah. I mean, I pick everything up because I like to collect. I like my unique tab to be close to completion. So
nice.
yeah. But other than that, I agree. I was wondering about that because I was just like, I feel like they just a whole bunch of uniques just start disappearing once you move off of whatever your starter league filter is.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, it's a cool idea. I like them adding that sync for items. I think that was really cool about the Recombinator League. I liked that about that league where you could just pick up lots of stuff on the ground that normally you would ignore because it had value, just because it had one mod. Or that was really
Perfect. That's a great last point that we need to cover. How the recombinators now after the patch. I haven't tried them after the patch yet, but they said they improved
Better.
in various ways.
Definitely
I had
better.
success before the patch, but it wasn't anything big. I had like success of like making a starter wand where I just slammed a couple of T1s together and that worked. But I wasn't trying to transfer essences. People were trying to like transfer essences and failed hundreds of times. I didn't have that experience.
I was just trying to get regular old spell suppression from an evasion base onto an armor evasion base, and it just
That sounds
never
also
happened.
Didn't
kind of-
happen. Like unlucky. Yeah.
Yeah, that
I
sounds.
got
Yeah, go ahead.
no. I got an unveil craft on one of my wands. But of course, I picked a bunch of other like shitter mods to put on there too. I was like, oh, cool. Like,
I heard of people transferring over like 30 quality on an item to a base that's good. So that's another use for it. But
yeah.
Right, yeah, you can also
Didn't
upgrade
know
items and stuff like
use
that,
that.
right?
Yeah, and I've seen some all spell plus spell skill amulets. Some
Yeah.
peeps have showed me they made it after the update, so I was like, all right, that looks like it's functional. Like it might be kind of back. But
It's
I don't
definitely
care.
not as strong still as it like was
Yeah, I
before
feel
League,
like
but
it's so
better.
risky outside of. Can you put mirrored items in the recombinator? Actually, no, you can. So you
No.
can't do mirrored items. Can you transfer influence?
Nope.
So it's just still praying, basically. But like I said, I did get some good mods, but I don't trust it enough to actually put anything worthwhile in there.
Right, it's scary.
Yeah.
From what I've been told, there's some things that it's pretty decent at doing, and then others that you don't even need to try. And I haven't done a whole lot of crafting myself, but it's probably all about like finding out, what the system works well with and what it doesn't work well with, and then just focus on the things where you get the best expected outcomes for the lowest potential loss.
Yeah.
Like so many things. Guys, it's been really a blast, but chat said earlier during the discussion that ended and it's getting miserable, and then I realized we're already so much over time, and I always want to keep these short and concise so that we leave on a high note, and like when we're actually still in the mood that we could talk so much more, which I'm sure we would be in for another 2 hours, which I think we probably should try and round things off here.
Well, I'm having a
Kick is
wonderful
passing-
time. I just need to take a whiz. That's all.
Kickers is passing out on my couch, and he needs his sleep because he has appointments tomorrow.
Appointments. For sure.
We're doing more prep for the meetup at Gamescom, which I quickly want to tell Chad about, guys. We're doing a meetup around Gamescom. I'll link it in the pinned comment. This time for real, I'll put it in the pinned comment. I had a Reddit post, and there's a Discord, event Discord. I think Ziz is coming, Kikis is coming, Loipi is coming, Koitsoit is coming, and like probably a solid amount from the respective communities. And we're gonna chill in a park in Cologne, and I'll reveal the location on the day of the event, which is Friday, and it's going to start at around 3 p.m. between 3 and 4. 4 is the official start. We're gonna be there obviously from the beginning. And I got a barbecue, and I got some sausages, and I got some other stuff.
Sounds good,
you
man.
can-
Have
You
fun.
can come and
Hell
get
yeah.
yourself a grilled traditional German Rostbratwurst, and yeah, that's my take. That's my little end segment. I'll do like just say goodbye afterwards, but you guys get to say something each. If you want to plug something that you're up to, or if you want to talk, if you just want to say bye, or if
You go
wanna
first,
say,
Danny Pond, ladies first.
I'll never come again.
No, I
You
had
want to
so
throw
much
a tantrum and
fun.
just press the leave button.
No, I had a great time. As always, thank you so much for inviting me on. I had fun. I hope you guys had fun too.
I had a blast.
Yeah, follow me on Twitter at denipon TV, and I should have I've been so delayed on my POE2 like content video. I'm a horrible editor / planner. I'm a streamer first, but
I can relate to that.
yeah, hope
Except
to.
for the streamer first thing. I don't have time for that at this point.
I know.
I'm a streamer like fifth.
Yeah, multi-talented. Catmaster's one of those multi-talented workers. But yeah, hope to see you guys soon.
My turn.
Awesome, thanks for coming. Aris, what did you want to let the audience know? What are you up to these days?
Well, it was a pleasure being on. I've watched your podcast before, and I think it's pretty cool of you to invite me. It was also a pleasure meeting you guys in LA. And I don't really know too many people in real life that play Path of Exile. So other than my chat room, those are really the only people I talk about Path of Exile with. This was technically the first time I've ever really talked about Path of Exile with people like this. So it was a cool, fun experience. I learned a lot. And thanks for inviting me anytime.
Thanks for coming. It was great to have you on. I think there was a lot of insight and a lot of interesting takes. You should definitely be in the conversation more often. It would not hurt to have your voice here.
It was my pleasure.
Here
Thank
on the
you.
podcast or at large in the community, right? Because
Thank you.
we just, I think it's always good to provide constructive and good feedback to the developers. And while you're obviously in love with the game, there's also many things that you yourself think that could be better or that you
Of
disagree
course,
with.
yeah.
So, Valor, what are you up to?
Trying to make shrines work. Yeah, that's the next thing I'm working on. Hopefully it'll be like as good as old temp chains, self curse, headhunter shenanigans.
How much
Except
are you
this
paying the
time-
shrines per hour for them to work?
Yeah, I mean you got to pay 80 div to enchant the shrine, so like maybe wait and see if it works out before you spend your own money getting your own enchant, because this is an expensive experiment with no proof that it works. So
That's your job, dude.
so maybe wait for me to prove that it works first and then go and make it.
That's your job, man. I mean, that's
Yeah.
People that are creative in this community are really cool because someone's got to do it, right? And they're the ones that are, I'm
And
one
they're
of
not
the
all
guys
gonna
who
work.
plays the best builds, so someone's got to get creative. I like that.
Yep, they're not all gonna work, so it might be
Yeah.
bad. We'll see.
Yeah.
Cool.
Do
You
you
gonna
ever
go Chris in that new toilet,
Yeah.
Valor?
I think so. He stopped
Yeah.
drilling, so
Brand new toilet, dude. All right, cool.
I had to upgrade to a toilet that could get a bidet. I'm getting a bidet in a few
alright.
weeks.
You do look like a bidet kind of a guy. I gotta be honest. Dude. All right, cool.
Which reminds me,
Enjoy.
give me a second. Which reminds me, isn't there this divination card that is so very fitting that we have to show it here, which is called the Throne, which shows someone sitting on the throne with the pants down, apparently.
That's pretty good. I haven't seen that yet. Why Combs roots though?
Corrupted Combs roots.
He's rooted, dude. He's rooted
is-
to the ground, dude.
Because his movement
To the
speed is
ground.
very low.
All right. Are those supposed to be
Alright.
toilet paper or candles? 2 rolls, one on each side. I like
I think they specifically
Double
made it
fisted.
ambiguous. But yeah, this
like
is
that
how
he's
I imagine
bald,
Balor
too.
on his throne. Anyway, thank you all for coming on. It was a pleasure. I'm currently. Oh yeah, let's just let you know about the planning. We don't have a current next episode planned. There will be one though with people that I meet at Gamescom. I think Ziz is coming and Loepi. If those two guys are available for the date we're doing the next episode, we're probably gonna throw them together on an episode just to talk a little bit about the con.
Do it
and,
IRL.
Make Balor feel bad about not being there.
Do an IRL one.
Oh, that would be cool. You know what? Ziz just said he doesn't know what to do on Saturday. Maybe we do a really an actual podcast. Maybe. We'll see. It's kind of hard technically to do, but maybe there's podcast rooms in Cologne that you can get. I'll look into that. Maybe that's a thing worth looking.
If you're in a hotel, they quite often have rooms that you can use.
No, I would like a proper conference podcasting radio
right,
setup.
what I'm saying is they quite often hotels have rooms
specifically for that.
He's about to tell you you're wrong, dude. You better watch out. He's about to start telling you how objectively, mathematically you're wrong, dude. And simple as that, all right? Anything else, and you are a damn fool, all right? So don't even get into it with Balor. You got to let him just... All right? Look at him. He's already getting furious. Look how ready he is.
Yeah, when I can't take it anymore, I'm definitely that's the time I resort to inviting you again so you can call him out on it.
Get out of his way, man.
All right.
All right, guys, we gotta go. It's so over time. Thanks again for watching. Thanks for being there. Stay tuned for the next episode. Stay tuned for the meetup in Cologne, and have a wonderful time playing POE. If you're going to Gamescom, have a great time, and come to my meetup on Friday and get a sausage. And I'll see you then. Bye bye.
I know a lot of people want to send blankets or water. Just send your cash.